Welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On The Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we are joined by UK Super Pro, James Hollingshead. Yay!
Super Pro, I like that.
Super Pro, yeah, I thought I'd sneak that in there, mate.
Trying. How you doing, buddy? You all right?
I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. I just checked on our Skype when it said we last chatted, because it tells you the last time you were on Global Muscle, over a year ago, mate. I didn't realise it was that long, so I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah, do you know what? I think because I caught up with Ron in between.
That's so right, you did.
Yeah, so it's probably just I've still been in touch with you guys, but just on the other platform.
Okay, then, James. Right. Well, let's where do we start, mate? Where do we start? Obviously, we've all been checking in on each other, us Brits, because obviously we lost Luke 2 weeks ago. Mate, how have you been?
A mixed bag of emotions, mostly positive. I say this to everybody that I talk to. When you have a friend that's like as funny and as positive as Luke,
yeah, and
all of your memories with that person are extremely funny, it's really hard to not smile every time you think about him. So when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of any of my days I spent with Luke, there's no sad ones. So I just smile. I laugh. I just think about all the nonsense that we used to do together. So it's he though he left us with a lot to be grateful for, and he left us with a lot of good memories. So obviously I wish there was more, and all of us wish there was more. Yeah. But I do feel extremely grateful that in the last 4 months or so that I had as much time with him as I did. Mm-hmm. So I'm extremely grateful, and it's a lot of motivation going forward, because I feel like he's still here in some way or another, and as long as we're pursuing like bodybuilding, we're kind of still continuing what he done, and I don't know, he's still part of the journey, man. He's still part of the road, so he hasn't really gone. He's gone, but he's not gone, so it's a funny one.
Well, I wrote a tribute for MD. It was they said, can you just do 500 words, because I also wrote about him in my column. And I did like a little extra bit, and I said, "Look, guys, if you're not hugely aware of Luke, I said, or you just saw his physique and you were inspired by it, I said, go and have a look at the content, because this guy has been pumping out content on the size game. What was that? 5 years ago, 6 years ago it started."
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because I used to come on, and that's when I really got to know Luke. Because I used to come on, and you and Banji sometimes would be like me and Luke would be having a debate about Batman or Star Wars, and you guys would be just zoning out, going, "Guys, come on, let's get back on track," Yeah. But my point is, it's like there is so much content that he created: video, podcasts, writing. It's like, so there's if you really want to get to know the guy, you still can. That's the beautiful thing about what he did, and that's part of his legacy.
Yeah, we were really fortunate with Luke that he was a very active personality, and he was willing to put in the work and let people know him. And because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people in bodybuilding tend to kind of shelve themselves away, the old Dorian Yates kind of approach. But Luke was very much he was accessible. He was a giver,
He was accessible, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Luke liked to see other people happy.
Yeah,
and he knew his content, and he knew his gibberish made other people smile. So he was more than willing to do it.
Yeah, and do you know what I've noticed? I've noticed that even from my own personal perspective, I've noticed that people are really kind of connecting and kind of supporting each other over this, which I think is wonderful. Donna Murphy messaged me this morning. She was sending me a link of a fan that had written something about him. She said, "Read this, it's beautiful." I said, "I'll read that later." I said, "Because I've got a film with James in a bit," and it's really. I've spoke to Banji the other day, who I hadn't spoke to for ages, because we kind of lost contact a little bit. So I like that. I think it's really nice how everyone has kind of connected and kind of supported each other. And I've only seen I've seen 99.9% positive things coming from this, because like you said, he was such a funny guy. He was such a kind person. I had people messaging me saying, like his partner. I spoke to his partner, his girlfriend, quite a lot, and she was saying that she said she's been inundated with people saying, 2 years ago Luke helped me with something with mental health or loads of different things, and she said I wasn't even aware of how connected and how many people's lives he touched.
Yeah, and Luke wasn't even aware.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because it wasn't done to receive. It was just done out of being himself.
Yeah.
So, all those conversations he had, each and every one of them were approached from a manner of just trying to be a good person. They were never to try and get anything back. And you touch more people that way because it's honest and it's genuine. And Luke was so genuine and honest that it's very hard to dislike him. I don't really know anybody that does. Even people that he used to have a joke with and bullshit around and have a laugh, there'd be people that were considered rivals, but behind closed doors, they were friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's say it. Nathan D'Asher, we all thought they had a bit of a rivalry. He was one of the first people to reach out to me. He sent me, because I hadn't spoke to him for a while, and he sent me some really nice messages. And he said, Giles, because he contacted me, so there was genuine intent there. He's like, he was really kind of pouring his heart out, and me and him have connected a lot more now as well, and we're kind of good. So that was it was he was unique, wasn't he, mate? Very unique.
Very, very. And I think it's funny enough, I just got this morning, the door went, and my missus ran to the door, and I've got a portrait of him turned up. I didn't know it was coming.
Oh, wow.
Someone drew a portrait. Can I grab it really quickly?
Go grab it. Go on.
It's like,
yeah, go on.
It's really nice.
Oh, nice.
All right. So
let's have a look.
It's come through the door.
Oh, nice. Who drew that?
Amazing, isn't it?
Who drew that?
Yeah. So it's
that's beautiful.
It's a lady called Laura Gascoigne, she's a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
She does portraits. I had no idea this was coming. A friend from King's Gym literally knew that me and Luke were good friends and didn't tell me anything. And literally I got this turned up on the door this morning. I'm trying to find out who sent it. And he messaged me this morning saying, "Did you get it?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, thank you very much. So it's lovely. It's beautiful.
Is it pencil or in inks?
I think it's pencil, Giles. Yeah, it's pencil.
Wow.
It's pencil. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Wow.
So I'm going to have to frame that, and that's going to live in my man cave with me now. So
nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Not going to get framed for the gym?
Nice
or
start to the day.
You're not going to frame it for the
I'm
gym?
I'm going to get something for the gym.
Yeah.
Something big. I think there's going to be something really big.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space, so we can get a massive picture. So I'm just looking for the picture that I want.
Did I tell you what? Can I give a suggestion? You know the one picture. I think that was the picture when it was the morning. Was it the morning? He sent it to me. I was in Ohio back 2019 Arnold Classic, and it was the picture where he's doing the one hand on hip, most muscular. And that was when he sent that to me, and I went, Luke, I said, either you've got the best lighting, I said, or your physique has taken such a jump up. Because, that was when he really served notice, and that was when he took his game to a whole new level. I just think, and it's such a badass picture. I'll send it to you. I mean, you probably got it anyway.
I know the one, yeah.
Yeah, he was crisp, and his tan looked amazing. And I said, Luke, please, just don't spill over. I said, just walk on stage like that. I said, because he
was like perfect there, wasn't he? He was like dry, separated, full. Yeah, I know the shot. Very good shot. Awesome shot.
Did you see what I reposted as well when I interviewed him at the Arnold on the Thursday? And I said, so then, Luke, what's the goal for this show? I said, everyone wants to know. And he says, top 6. And you can see it in my face. I'm going, I said, did the lineup this tough? And he went, yeah, top 6. He was absolutely adamant. And you can see it in my face. I'm going, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. Top 6, mate. He got top 3.
I know.
Top 3.
He knew he had the tools. Like, he knew he had the tools, and he always had belief. People say he didn't have belief in himself, but he did.
Oh, he did.
He just knew that it wouldn't be easy.
Yeah.
He knew it was hard. It was a challenge, and but he was up for the challenge. And he delivered. When he come to that Arnold, freaking hell, it was like, wow. That's when I said to him, I said, mate, honestly, you can win the Olympia in the next year to 3 years. I don't know how long, depending on who turns up. It is possible. It's highly a possibility, and I believe you can.
Yeah.
And that's when we started training together. Mm-hmm. The goal, for me, for him was like, I just know you can win the Olympia, so let's just shut some people up.
I mean, he was 30 years old, because really, like most of the top pros, they're hovering around 40 or 40 plus. So you had a guy that people were saying. I remember Sergio Oliva Jr. We had him on it was episode 5 of Global Muscle, and I said, who do you think? And my words were, who do you think will be the next Mr. Olympia? And he went, Luke Sando. And I went, really? This was before, obviously, the Arnold. No, actually, was it? It might have been. Yeah, I think it was right before the Arnold. So it was before he made that leap up in terms of his physique, So I was like, okay, that's a lot of pressure, man. But he was 30 years old, and he was already, making waves. I mean, even when he got as 8th at the Arnold Classic in 2017, that was only like 4 months after he turned pro, and here he was.
Listen, that ain't shabby. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Fucking top 10 easy.
Yeah. And you know, remember when people were complaining that he got the invite in 2019, where people saying, no, Sasan Harati should have got it. And I was like, he's not even on a pro show, and here he is. You know, he's getting the second invite. I said, you know, if he doesn't do well in this show, he's really they're gonna have to review the way they give these invites out. And then he got 3rd place and looked absolutely sensational. Beat Cedric, beat Rowley, beat Steve Cooklow, beat Akin Williams. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and arguably, I wouldn't have moaned if the top 3 placed in any position of that year, like, because I could see argument for them all. Because my feeling for Luke had a separation from the front. Luke had a separation that no one else had. Like, very clean lines. I think he still needed more detail from the back, like a separation, which someone like Bonac has a lot of. But I wouldn't have moaned. I'm not just being biased. I just said whatever you throw. I wouldn't have been like, oh, that's a definite loss. So I said to him, you know, you were good enough to be top 3, but that show, if it happened again, you never know. You could have been 2nd, you could have been 1st. You just don't know. I think all you could do is improve yourself. Yeah,
I think 3rd was fair because, I mean, the thing is, you beat Steve Cookler, who's been nailing it every single time since the 2018 Arnold. He beat an off Rowley. But he also beat Cedric, who was not off. He was looking very, very good. So that was a huge... I mean, that's a 2017 Arnold Classic winner, you know, and he was taking him out, you know, as a relative unknown, but, you know.
I think Luke, I'm not trying to debate, but I think Luke's more complete than Steve from all angles.
Yeah.
So I think the times that Steve's beat Luke is because Luke's been a bit off. I don't think if they're both on that Steve. Yeah, because I was at the Arnold this year, obviously, so I watched Steve again, and he's great. Yeah, like, he's one of the best Caucasian bodybuilders on the planet, without a doubt. But I feel like Luke probably was the best Caucasian bodybuilder on the planet right now.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I'd like, you know. Yeah, that's just.
It's like you got Steve. That's a really good question. Actually, I've never thought about that.
So he was the top. That's what I mean. He was the top of like a certain demographic there. So he was on his way, man. He was on his way.
Yeah.
He was well on his way.
He was the best white guy on the planet.
Oh yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
That's awesome. No, it's famous. Yes, fits. Like you said, fits a demographic. Yeah. So okay, well, so anyway, I've been really okay. 2 things. Firstly, I'll go to that first. I'm over the moon that you're working with Patrick Tuor. Tell us about that. How did that come around? How are you doing? What's it been like?
So I'll explain. So basically, obviously, quarantine was put on us.
Yeah.
And I was separated from Luke because we couldn't train together.
Okay.
So I contacted Patrick about training initially. I just said, look, I'm on my own. I have the gym still. I have access.
Yeah.
I'd love to do some of your training because I looked at his training previously, and it's something that you can do alone because he does all that, the extended sets, the cluster sets. You know, he does intensity techniques that you don't always need a training partner for.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I love your training, Patrick. Let's get some training in place. And what I found is that daily Patrick would check in on me and see how the training was, which was such a nice thing. Mm-hmm. His personality shone through, and we obviously just became friends really quick because he was actually interested. And like the amount of interest he showed in me, bearing in mind, I wasn't even doing his nutrition or anything. I was just like doing his training. Yeah. It showed a lot of character, and it showed a lot of his genuine side and how interested in the sport he is and how much he loves it, and how much he's willing to invest in people. Mm-hmm. So, you know, a few weeks down the line, I just made a decision in myself. You know, I know I have to let some people down sometimes, but what was right for me right now is just to go full steam with Patrick because he's showing the amount of intrigue in me and interest in my future that I can't not give back. I can't not try it because it feels too right. Basically, the man's just a gentleman, and everything feels right that we discuss. Yeah, it's like the pull and the aura and the magnetism was too much for me to do anything otherwise. It was just too alluring. I was like, wow, you know what? This guy's a top guy. Yeah, he's intelligent, cares about bodybuilding. His training's freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. He messages me pretty much daily, and we chat about things, bodybuilding or not. that's just a good bloke, and that's someone that I want in my circle.
Yeah.
So,
well, you remember what he did? You remember what he did with my ex-girlfriend Rosie? I mean, I said when I knew that she realised it, because she got second at the Arnold, I said she needed to take a step up in terms of her physique and everything. There was only two people I thought of, and one was Patrick, and the other one was Neil Hill. And I actually, for whatever reason, I just went to Patrick first. I didn't get a chance to message Neil. And Patrick said, I'd love to work with her. He got her a pro card. He won her first pro show, got a Rookie of the Year at the Olympia. And that was all in like space of a year. So, and I was handing my partner to him, and to look after her femininity and everything. And I've been good friends with him ever since. And he's just such an impressive individual, and his knowledge and he's also very focused on health, isn't he?
Oh, extremely. Look, you said it yourself. He took Rosie and kept her femininity and made her an Olympian. Yeah. Like working with her. Like, it's a joint effort, obviously, but all things considered, he didn't allow any boundaries to be crossed. And that takes some intelligence, because it's not easy to do that with a woman. Yeah. We're in bodybuilding here, and we all have to do certain things. And to understand the biochemistry, the hormonal responses and all that stuff, and knowing what's not going to cause issues, you have to be someone that's well researched and smart and who actually gives a toss. Yeah. So that says everything about him. And again, that's another reason I'm confident with him, because I've seen what he's done with people and how he looks after them. I care about health. I care about bodybuilding. I care about being able to do this for a long time, because I always said this, and I said this to Patrick, I won't win because I'm the best genetically, but I tell you now, I'll win because I'll endure. Yeah. Like when I it's because I don't give up. So other people have a broken leg before I do. That's just the way it is. I'm not Brandon Curry. I know I'm not. But I'll be here in 5 years and I'll be getting better every year. Yeah. And that's what I feel that Patrick is also, his mindset's the same. Yeah. Now, great. Mate, honestly, he's a blinder. Now obviously, you're working with Patrick. You're really improving. I mean, you've constantly been improving. Well, constantly. And these pictures that I saw recently of you, what are you weighing? You're weighing 280 something in the recent pictures? Well, now I'm not. You're not now? 295. 295. Okay, and you're never really far out of condition. I mean, shave all that body hair off, and you've still got cuts. Yeah, and that's where I know I've been making a mistake in the past, because I can get off seasons like this. Yeah. My issue's always been the dieting. I tend to I go overboard, and I cause a lot of damage to myself because I lower calories too much. Oh, you over training volumes too high. Yeah, I make a lot of mistakes. Oh, okay. That's why I've never delivered. That's why I've never brought the physique I know I can, because of issues that I've caused. So that's why, Patrick, you just say what and I do. So what do you attribute to all your recent improvements working with Patrick? 3 things. The first and foremost, the 2 things that he's mainly kind of changed are my nutrition, and my training style. So I'm doing his SST training, which, like I said before, it's extremely dense training. So what his goal is to try and do is get the most kind of workload out of an individual without having to stretch the workouts and make them really long and tedious. Yeah. That combined with his excellent nutrition, because he's really good at food, nutrient timing, food selection. Mm-hmm. He's got me eating more. He's got me eating more than I ever have before, but keeping my body's metabolic higher than ever before. Yeah. So I'm just a well-oiled machine right now. He's basically got my body. He took my body from working 70% to 80% now. We're still getting better, and it's all to do with obviously the amount of requirement from the training that basically the amount of nutrition I need now to even survive because of his training is extremely high. Okay. Like, honestly, it's so intense that I have to eat more than I know. But what it's done in turn is also shifted my whole metabolic kind of capacity into another gear. So everything that's going in my body now is 100% being utilized, whereas before it wasn't. So it's all to do with the stimulus that he's created and the amount of force on my body, the amount of intensity, the amount of requirement that I have now in order to fulfill his training. Yeah. It's just a smart combination of things. He's basically put everything in place to make me better. Yeah. So let's talk about the training, because, I mean, you're really, really well known for your heavy compound training. I mean, I put a video in one of my other shows well over a year ago, and you were squatting. I mean, tell us, what was it, 7 plate for 8 reps or something ridiculous? What was it? £700 for 8 reps to the floor. I think it was so 600, so 660, seven plates. So that's like 300 kilo.
Not fake.
But you know, I haven't had to with Patrick. I haven't had to go to that weight because he will take probably 70%, 80% of your max, and he'll make you do these sets where you pick that weight up, you do 10 reps, you put it down, you go again after 20 seconds, you put it down, you go again after 20 seconds, and most people would call it a day there. Patrick's got you doing that another 3-4 times till you fail at 3 reps.
So you think the change in stimulus has really improved your physique and helped you to develop it? Yeah, absolutely, because it's the demand. You know, you make your body, you take your body down into that hole where it needs so much to get back out of it. You want to create a big hole so that your body's able to have more, and then eventually you're even and you're able to take more, and that's your norm. Yeah. So my norm is higher than it was before. It's clever. Like it's. I don't know if I sound sensible when I try to explain it because obviously it's just coming out of my mouth. But Patrick has a way where he can just sit there and explain it. But obviously, the main thing is it's just about creating masses of demand and feeding the body. Yeah, that's the way I get it. But cleverly, because I could go and put 7 plates on my shoulders, on my back now, and I could continue doing what I was. But what was happening is that it was getting to a point where it's progressively overloading, but dangerously. Yeah. So how do I improve that set from there? What do I do? What do I do? Another rep? Do I have another plate? Whereas Patrick's found a way now to incorporate slightly lighter sets, but make them even more intense. And when you add the numbers up, I'm actually doing more workload now. Because, 220... It's more stress on the muscle, isn't it? More stress on the muscle.
Giles, 220 kilos times 30 reps is more than 300 times 10.
Yeah.
So... I'm now doing that volume.
Right, okay.
But it's condensed in the same workout. Yeah. So it's very demanding. Yeah. Because obviously these extended sets, you put 220 on my back, Giles. Yeah. I'm gonna do 30 rep total with it in a set. Okay. Easily. I'm gonna do it. It'll kill me, but I'll do it. Yeah. Whereas with the 300, I would have done one set with 8. Right. So where's there more work? Where is there more work?
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I'll be honest. The last couple of years, when I've seen the pictures and all the videos of people like yourself, people like Luke, shifting those colossal weights, I was thinking, where are these guys going to top out at? When are they going to hit a ceiling? And because the thing is, the higher up you go, and the more you keep pushing those poundages, the more likely you are to get injured. Have you had any injuries, or have you managed to avoid them?
I've been fine. The only thing I ever did to myself, I was slightly off-centered once when I was bench pressing, so my shoulder took a bit of a dip. Yeah. I must have not been in my normal spot, and it sunk, and I had a dodgy shoulder for a while, but it's nothing major. It's not prevented me from being able to do what I do. Yeah. I'm pretty much injury-free. I pretty much always have been. Yeah. I
remember speaking to Luke about your training, and he said he's stronger on back, you're stronger on legs. No, I think you... Yeah. Hang on. There was something about... I think he was stronger on chest. Or... Well, whatever. Tell us.
So, Luke's stronger with dumbbells. Right. I'm stronger with a barbell. Oh, okay. It's really weird. So, if we could lay flat on a bench and he'd pick up dumbbells, like 220s, he can do them. I find them fucking awkward. Yeah. But you put a barbell on my chest, I'll lift a barbell with... God... I don't know. I could probably 6 plates aside. You know what I mean? Like, I'll lift it. I don't know how many reps I'll get, but I'll do it. Wow. So we had our our differences. Yeah. Legs. Like I'm a good squatter, but then Luke's deadlift is like incredible. Like he can pull the amount he could pull off the floor was just like stupid. He was built like a gorilla. Like fucking. You know what I mean? Like he had those like leverages because. Luke actually had quite a short torso and quite long arms. Yeah. But you can't really see it because he was so thick. Oh, okay. So he had really good mechanics for deadlift. Really good. Right.
I always wonder what was your most memorable workout?
Our workouts were more memorable because of all the shit we were chatting. God. Because honestly, like my days with Luke were mostly us just being friends, if I'm honest. Yeah. I wouldn't say we were the best training partners in the world because I think we cared about each other more as mates. Okay. And that's me being totally honest. Me and Luke had a better relationship as friends during this whole time than we did as training partners. Right. Because we're quite different bodybuilders, in all honesty.
Hang on. What about that competitive spirit, though? Come on, it must be. I want to be king of the gym today. I know that you'll be looking at each other, thinking, "I'm going to fucking beat this guy on deadlifts." And
we have it, but
bit of like playful kind of ego lifting or whatever, competitive.
Do you know what? Like this is honestly, I'll say this. You know, I really cared about Luke's progress for a time, a bit more than I did my own.
Okay.
Because I felt that he was so close, and so I would travel over to Muscleworks to train with him.
Okay.
And Giles, you know how much I love Kings.
Yeah.
Like, Kings is my home. Like, to take me out of there, to get me out of there, takes a lot. Yeah, like I'm there every day, and that's how I felt about Luke. Like, I just felt like I have to go and help him because he's so close.
Okay.
And like, I cared for him a lot, man. Honestly, like I can't explain how much I cared for him. Like. You know, like I did love him, like honestly, and
you were good friends.
I really just wanted him to just get what he's been working for and how hard he'd been working.
Yeah.
So for a time, you know, I put my own training a little bit on the back burner because the training with him was great, but it was what suited him, and that's what I cared about most of the time because it worked for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Luke because Luke taught me a lot and he helps me loads and he's fantastic. But my main thought process at the time was, this kid's going to blow, be there to help him, because if you don't, he might not quite get there because it's a tough game.
Okay.
You know? Mentally, this is a tough game, and we know that now, you know? So I just wanted to be support more than anything. That's what I cared about most.
Yeah.
So the training was great. Like we had amazing training, and we pushed each other, albeit Luke's a lot slower than I am in the gym.
You train fast. You train faster.
I do. I'm quite go.
Yeah.
And, you know, Luke like looking on the phone and, you know, chatting shit. And so we had a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, he's like probably train like more like a power lifter, like a strongman, really. Maybe just like to, you know, 4 or 5 minute rest and you're like 90 seconds or 60 seconds.
Yeah, but this is why I know Luke had such amazing genetics as well.
Right, okay.
Like, I've never seen someone be able to, like, kind of be so docile in between sets and kind of like not in the moment.
Yeah.
Then turn it on and be able to get these sets and make the progress that he did.
Douche.
Like he was a phenomenal. His genetics were the most crazy that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Honestly, because not many people would have been able to get away with what he did. Like he knew it as well. He knew it. Trust me, he knew it. He knew it because he's like, it works for me. Yeah,
it works for you. Yeah. Well, he found his formula, didn't he?
He did. And that's the funny thing. The difference between us and our bodybuilding was so different because I almost like I enjoy my training if it feels like it took everything from me and if it destroyed me.
Okay.
Which is probably why he's a better bodybuilder, because he was smart enough to know that's not how you got to feel.
Right. Like Lee Haney said, stimulate, don't annihilate.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, annihilate.
I'm not fucking annihilate. Put it on my back. Come on, I'll show you something, you crazy bastard. You know, because I don't know, because I don't do a lot in the rest of my days. Like a lot of my time's not spent doing anything overly physical.
Yeah.
It's the place where, you know, I go and I lay it all out and I can go home after that and feel at peace.
Yes.
So I suppose it depends what the gym means to you. Yeah. The gym for Luke was very much an escape. I know that because we'd get to the gym planning to train at like 1 o'clock. We wouldn't train till 3 because we spent 2 hours talking beforehand. but you know, and back then I thought I didn't think much of it. I thought, okay, cool, he just likes the gym. But now, like in hindsight, I realised that he needed that.
Yeah.
And that's why this lockdown definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
Because you can sit. This is a man, that liked to sit for 2 hours with me and just take his time and talk.
Yeah.
You know, and that shows what meant most to Luke was his friends and spending time with them and talking and just being able to be human. And I feel that this you know, and no one's really spoke about, but I feel that the lockdown definitely interfered with what made him happy.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've spoke to his partner. She told me through the whole thing, and I mean, I've had loads of people inundating me, asking me all details, and to be honest, it's not my details to share. It's not my place. You know, I want to talk about. The thing is, I work in the bodybuilding media, so I will talk to you all day about his bodybuilding career and who he was, but the kind of personal stuff that's not for me to share. But you know, it has really raised questions about things like mental health and stuff like that, and being triggered and being triggered by certain things and kind of things getting on top of you. I mean, I've been through it. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you have been as well at some point in your life. You know, some are lucky to get through it, others don't. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's why I hope. You know, I do hope from all this that people are more inclined to talk. Because
and be kinder as well. Be kinder. Yeah, be kinder. Because everyone's fighting their own battles, mate. Going back to talking about the podcasts, do you still do as many as you used to do?
I get asked.
You're a good talker. That's
usually other people asking these days, but myself, I do one with Kuba and Jamie every now and then when we can be bothered. It's pretty much the same elements to it as the size game. It's just us three. It's just reporting news from bodybuilding in the UK, really, on our kind of to our kind of followers, because obviously the boys are coaches, so it's more of a way for them to kind of inform their clients about the standings of bodybuilding. So it's good. It's not the same as having Luke, but it's still good. Kuba's funny. He's his own man. He's an odd one. And obviously Jamie's a great guy. So it's good. It's more for me, that podcast for me is more like catching up with friends. Yeah. I think that's like, because Fuad's is very good as well, isn't it? And people like it, because I've seen little clips and it's just guys just generally chit-chatting about kind of just stuff. I think the secret of like the size game and these other podcasts, it's like I said before, it's as if it's the kind of banter you have when you go to those really good hardcore gyms and you stood there with your protein drink and you're just chatting with the lads. I think that's what makes a really good, when there's more than two people and it's not like a straightforward interview, I think that's what makes a really good podcast. I remember once when like the silly questions that Banji used to ask on the size game, he says, would you rather, was it penises for fingers or vaginas for ears? And you have to explain why. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the funny thing, because all these would you rather questions, they started with Banji, didn't they? Where did this all begin? It was Banji. That's why, like, you got to give Banji ratings, because he kicked off this whole. He kicked off when podcasts started to talk about some weird shit. Yeah. So respect him, because he's an original for that. But yeah, it was the sit on cake and eat cock, or eat cake and sit on cock, one of the two, that one. And we had the t-shirts.
Yeah. Oh, did you? You had t-shirts made with a question on.
Yeah, I've got a picture of Luke actually wearing one.
Oh no.
But the good thing is the picture has a cockerel rather than a cock.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because you're already walking around with a penis on your bloody on your t-shirt.
Exactly. Mandy had a good design on that one. But yeah. The world now, it's like everything's so connected, so it's really easy just to put together a few lads or a few women, whoever, blah blah blah, to do these podcasts now. They're kind of popping up everywhere. But yeah, like you say, the secret to a good one, I think, is as long as it's a genuine relationship between the people on there.
Yeah.
If it's genuine banter, like Luke and Fuad's is excellent, like you said.
Yeah.
It's kind of legendary already. Like if you look at there's like a homage page, the bodybuilding and bollocks homage page, like I don't know who runs that Instagram. It's nothing to do with Fuad.
Oh, okay.
But he takes all the clips of the best parts, and he's doing it like it's a full-time job. And I find myself on Instagram mostly looking at that more than anything.
Wicked.
It's good.
Yeah. So you're with Redcon now. How did that come about?
Redcon came about partially because of Luke, because Luke was like, "You're training with me now. Let's sort it out." Okay. And also I had interest in them. God, a while ago. I've known Aaron for a while just to talk to.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I did the New York Pro last year, I was in New York and I bumped into Aaron, so I said hello, the usuals. And I always said to Aaron, I said, like, I'm with Jordan, and Jordan's like one of my best pals. I love Jordan; he's great, and I still talk to Jordan daily. But I said, if anything ever comes up in the future of Redcon, I would definitely be interested, because it seemed like a real natural progression for me.
Yeah.
To go from, because Jordan's the best supplement company I've ever been with in the UK. But then I was
Jordan Peterson, JP.
Yeah, Jordan Peters. So,
Jordan Peters, sorry.
Yeah, where'd you go from that? Like, I wanted to try and get myself a little bit more out there, and it seemed like a really sensible move. Unfortunately, Aaron like said to me, yeah, like once something comes up, for sure.
Yeah. So, I one thing I've noticed with Redcon, they don't just like the guys who do well in, like some supplement companies in years past would be you'd see in the contract purely based upon your placings. Yeah, and your bonuses will be based upon what you bring to the stage. But I think with Redcon, I think they're perhaps more tilted towards what you guys are bringing when you're not on stage. I like things like podcasts and videos and social media, and I think that's where they differ and where they're kind of setting themselves apart from other companies because of guys like yourself who have great physiques, but you also put out amazing content as well.
Yeah, I think Aaron's really smart. Like, credit to Aaron. Aaron knows that bodybuilding isn't linear anymore.
Yeah.
It isn't just that straight path.
Yeah.
And he obviously saw potential in Luke before this, because Luke wasn't winning shows yet. And yet had that audience and had that appeal. And Aaron knew that. Yeah. And Aaron monopolized that, and they created something really great together. So he does have great foresight into who's likable and who's not.
Yeah.
Which is really important.
It's not just about having big social media followings, but how that athlete connects with the people. With the people. Yeah, that's where the difference between, I think, people like yourself and Luke is, because, like I said before, people like yourself and Luke are so accessible because, like you do respond to DMs, you do respond to texts. You are literally a public figure in bodybuilding.
Me and Luke always tried to. That's why we spend a lot of time on our phones, to be fair, because we would always answer DMs. Like, most people that have messaged me have probably had a reply back. Like, honestly, because I always just try and. I was thinking about this morning. Actually, I was watching something on telly, and I was watching someone I really like following, and it's nothing to do with bodybuilding. He's a gamer, and he streams his gaming. Okay. And I've tagged him a few times just because I'm a geek.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is he's never, like, I'm not saying he has to reply, but he never has. But I thought to myself, how would I feel if he did?
Right. Okay.
I would be really happy. So, and I know that Luke or someone like me can make someone feel that way. Yeah. So it's only right that we reply when we can, because it can make someone's day. It's
not just that, mate. It's like, the connection you have and the difference you can make to people's training, their lives. It can be a small thing like replying to a DM, but it can make someone's day, and it could change the course of their life, but I mean, potentially it could. It could. Yeah, you're in a privileged position, mate, and it's nice to hear that you are responding to people in a good way like that.
You have to be aware that, like Giles, honestly, I've had some like really heartfelt DMs that are like this long, and I mean, they're about serious things.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to know that when I have replied to them, because of their response back, that it has changed their day.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful position to be in. And I'm not even, I'm nothing special. I'm just me. But to some people, they feel that I'm the person that they want to reach out to.
Yeah.
And like I said before, if I have the power to turn their day into something greater, then why not? I can only wish to live a life where you touch people like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is more than bodybuilding. This isn't just bodybuilding. This is like now.
It transcends bodybuilding, doesn't it? It becomes something more because you've through your bodybuilding, being a pro athlete, you've got access and extended reach that allows to kind of make a difference to people's life. I think that's why. I mean, I had people messaging me 2 weeks ago saying, "Look, I never met Luke, but I'm in tears now, and I've had family members that I haven't been this upset about, and I never even met the guy." So people like yourself, it's like you've got a real responsibility, and I think it's something that I think the way you've always been so authentic and so honest with your podcast, because I've listened to them and you've spoke about some really deep subjects. I remember when I started Global Muscle, and I was going through a bit of a rough time at the time. I remember me and AJ speaking a lot about mental health, and I tell you what, the amount of messages I got and friendships and kind of new people I was meeting saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you talked about that." So it's more than just talking about chicken and rice and squatting.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, the better the conversation, the more it does waver off into those realms, and you talk about those things.
Yeah.
And then the people that are listening, unexpectedly, sometimes find themselves really able to relate and come away from this conversation not feeling alone.
Yeah.
So that's why I think podcasts are most important, because the talking can allow others to be kind of invited into the conversation, and to not feel like they're abnormal. Yeah. Because no one's abnormal. Everyone that feels a certain way, I guarantee there's others that feel the same and share the exact same views.
Yeah.
So the more people talk, the more people are aware that they're not alone, and that's just a great thing. So it's never a wrong time to talk.
Yeah. I mean, I had a message from someone this morning. She's talking about Luke, and she was saying she was really not coping too well with it all. And I said, look, what you got to do, I said, you got to embrace this. You've got to embrace the things, the feelings that you're going through. I said, don't run away from it. She said, that's really good advice. Thank you, Giles. And I was like, well, look, I said, it's everyone handles things differently. Everyone handles, things like stress, and we all handle it in our own unique way. So, you know.
Do you know what as well? It depends on, one thing I have noticed is that it depends if you've witnessed loss before.
Right.
A lot of people, Luke is their first loss.
Yeah.
And it hits you hard. Because I remember losing mum, and it boots you right in the bollocks. Yeah. And I feel that I was able to deal with Luke more because of previous experience. But I've spoken to close friends who Luke is the first person literally that they've witnessed pass.
Oh,
and I've
really?
said,
okay.
Yeah, and I've said, guys, it's going to hit you hard. I'm just prepared. I'm just trying to do my best to help you. Yeah. But that feeling is not wrong.
Okay.
It will hit, because it is a loss, and it's a massive loss. The one thing that comes from it that I've noticed myself is that in the future we will face loss again.
Yeah.
You are more prepared for it, and I'm not trying to say it makes it better, because nothing makes it better, but it just makes you able to understand the process a lot better and deal with it and continue to your normality a lot quicker than you expected beforehand.
Do you think, because at the end of the day, your bodybuilding is very much on track at the moment. Do you think the bodybuilding and the whole structure of being a bodybuilder has helped you kind of get through the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. I think
keeps you focused.
Yeah, it has, because I have purpose.
Purpose and meaning. Yeah, purpose and meaning.
Purpose is everything in life.
Yeah.
If I was someone that had nothing, no goals right now, I wonder how much time I'd spend in my head thinking about what's just happened. Right now, I'm extremely motivated off the back of this. It's like, I almost feel like Luke's pushed me to work harder now.
Yeah.
He's kind of gone, here you go, mate. Keep fucking representing. But then again, like you say, everyone takes it differently. And no one's wrong. Someone might take this right now and they're bodybuilding, and their bodybuilding might suffer for a while because they just can't get the focus. Yeah. Is that wrong? Yeah. Is that wrong? It's not wrong, is it?
No.
It's just me personally. He's just given me a shit ton of energy, and I feel like I've got to ride it. So, every time I'm in the gym now, there's a couple of thoughts for Luke before I start.
Yeah.
And then it's, let's get cracking. Let's continue this path.
Yeah.
But everyone's entitled to deal with it. No, if you need time out, take time out. Don't feel like you got to soldier through because that's what others do.
Yeah.
Because like you said there, everyone has their own way of dealing with things, and some people need more time than others.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I'm just extremely grateful that I have the memories that I do, because they're so funny and so good that if I was having a shit day, I could quite honestly just think about maybe one of my days of Luke, and it'd probably flip it around for the better.
Yeah.
Honestly, really would.
So you're like, what are you, like 290 something now? You're working with Patrick Tuor. You're kind of getting on with it, and the purpose and meaning of what you're doing with your bodybuilding is kind of getting you through this tough time, which, like you said, everyone handles differently. What's the goals for you now? What's the next move? What's the next show? What's next?
So quite basically, me and Patrick spoke a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
The objective right now is just to really keep adding some quality, but keeping the body fat in a distance of about 14 weeks out from any show that was ever to come up.
I've not seen you with any kind of amount of body fat for years, because I remember you were on last year, and you were saying you're pretty much like doing cardio every day at 4 a.m. and you're in a really, you're almost like you're on a 12-month of the year prep, like literally all year round. You're like prepping, so you're just eating more good quality food. You don't really go have an off season. It's like so.
Yeah. I'm a routine guy, Giles. Because like I said before, I don't do a lot else other than bodybuilding. I have chose to invest everything into this.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, I'm not blessed enough to get the result without doing that. I'm very lucky that people like Aaron are behind me, and I have the financial support of my sponsors and stuff, because it allows me to be the person I am.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do bodybuilding if it was like, if it didn't require my all. So that's why I am how I am.
I'm definitely hearing echoes of Dorian Yates here, mate.
I feel the same. I share much of his mentality. I do agree with him on everything.
Same mindset.
Because, I have my times where I'm on my own and I'm thinking, of course I want to get on a stage and I want to smash every motherfucker. Of course I do. And I know that most people don't see it possible, but I also know that when I was an amateur, most people didn't see it possible me turning pro. So I can, in my head, I'm like, fuck, like everything's far away until it's there.
Yeah.
So I don't need people to believe. I really don't. Honestly, I don't. I'm fortunate they do. I'm lucky that I've got so many kind people that message me daily. But honestly, I know where I can go because I know what I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
And as long as I have that faith in myself and I have the stubbornness to continue pursuing this, I know that before I'm done, I will achieve the things I said I will.
Yeah.
Time-wise, who knows what it's going to take, but it'll be done because I'm not doing anything else.
So, 2020, are you going to compete? Have you thought about a show you'd like to do?
No. Honestly,
come on.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on with shows, Giles, because it's all kits up.
So
Patrick did say though, like if there was a show, we only need 14 weeks.
14. Do you think you need 14? I don't.
No, but he wants me to hold every fucking pound.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we're bringing these pictures up on the in this episode, but I mean, what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing real, like, remember you and funny if you and Luke used to talk about it on the size game called that bubbly roundness. Crispy and bubbly. That was the two words you always used to use. Crispy, bubbly. That's if you can retain that and get that, because I mean you've had some good showings. I mean, what you were the fourth at the Prague? Was it fourth at Prague?
So wait a minute. This is my best placings.
Yeah, you've done well.
I've had 2 top 3s.
Yeah.
I've had a top 5 in Romania.
Yeah.
I've had a top 6 in Prague. A top 6 in Toronto.
It's not bad.
So I'm not shit.
That's not shit for a guy with not very good genetics who's like, the thing is, you're still young. What are you, like 29, 30 now?
I'm 31.
31.
I'm a little bit. Luke's actually 31. And my thing was, Luke was born actually in 88 and I was born in 89.
Okay.
So my thing was like, I never felt too bad because I was like, I've got 1 year to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when you were. I remember when you were a junior in 2000. Was it 2009? 2009.
You done the right up.
And then you came back. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And then you came back in 2012 and you got second to Jack Stockel from Newcastle.
It.
Sorry?
I overdone the diet. I had a lot of women trouble at the time. Put it that way.
Well, don't we all, mate?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Women trouble fucks the physique. You know.
No.
I can confidently say that if I didn't have the women trouble, I think I might have.
Yeah, I remember actually I was you and Steve Avery down in the basement at the old Muscle Works in Bethnal Green, and you remember I filmed you two training legs, and you two are maniacs because that whole gym was just it's full of like all the 90s guys, Ian Wadley, Leonard Sensor, Jamo JD, Ian Wadley. I'm gonna miss somebody out here, so sorry. But like that was a real, like really old, like the new Muscle Works Orpington. That's a really good hardcore basic, not basic. It's hardcore gym. It's just.
You say the old one was beautiful though. The old one, like me and Steve would train there every Saturday for legs. That was literally our religious. We'd be there, we'd smash them, and we'd go home. That was our job. And he was intense, man. Bearing in mind he wasn't even young then.
Yeah. He was awesome. I think imagine if the 212 had been around. Hang on, I'm trying to think. 96. I remember when he came and won a show. He won a Neil Hill's Tenby show in 1996. And he came down. He won the overall. He actually gave me a lift back. I remember he gave me a lift back through Wales.
Yeah.
And I remember because the physique, I was thinking like he was kind of like the Lee Labrada type posing. Fantastic. He's won. How many British titles has he won? I mean, he's won it as a junior, a Misters.
6. I think 6.
Yeah, this guy won the juniors, the light heavyweights, never won the overall.
Light heavyweights twice.
Yeah, and the masters over 40s and over 50s.
Yeah. So masters actually 3 times, I think, or some shit. He's crazy.
He's still like passionate and. The last time I saw him was at a Five Finger Death Punch concert in 2017 at Wembley. Remember, I asked you to come. I thought you were coming as well.
Normally I would go with him to these events, but I probably was busy with prepping.
Yeah. No, I think you were something about your mum. It was something you were at your mum's. I think I remember.
I might have been for the weekend. Probably popped off for the weekend.
Yeah,
up to see her.
Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, those were the days, man. 2012 was a good year. I trained with Steve every day.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
Every day.
Wow! So you got a good bond, you and Steve.
Oh, very. He's like Uncle Steve. Like I still talk to Steve now. I called him a couple of days ago just to check in on him, see how things are, and he's fantastic. So
yeah, he still tags me in the old thing on Instagram and everything. But
he's quite active on there. Yeah, you would never have thought, would you? Like a few years ago.
I know, a bit of a dinosaur, wasn't he? Right. Okay. One final thing then. This year's Olympia. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh man, honestly, I've got like, I don't know. I feel like they pushed it back to December, but I just feel like things get delayed and then cancelled. I just don't know what's going to happen. I want it to happen. I do want it to happen, but I still can't see how travel is going to be allowed for anyone external of the USA.
Right.
So what are all the pro bodybuilders or other categories going to do that are not in the USA? Yeah. That's my worry, because obviously everyone would love to do it, but how do we qualify?
Yeah, well, I was speaking to Rami's coach yesterday because they're still stuck in Dubai because when they left Columbus, they were on their way to Australia to compete in the Arnold Australia, and they got stuck in Dubai and they're still stuck. I mean, luckily they've got. Obviously, they're okay with. He's got good sponsors, and obviously he was in Dubai before for a little bit, so he's familiar with the place. And apparently he's still training and prepping. And I said to him, surely he's qualified. I said, where is he going to qualify? And he said, we don't know yet. He says because his third place at the Arnold Classic does not qualify him for the Olympia. And I was like, well, then they need to get him a special invite. And he says, well, at the moment we're just staying on track in a routine, prepping as if it's going to like Hadi was last year, as if everything's going to be okay, and just hope for the best. So it must be.
I think they should kind of do that though, like what you just said there. I think say the top 5, like if there's not many shows, top 5 or top 3 from the Arnold, let them have the qualification, because you need to fill some spaces. You could honour. I know obviously you got guys like who have won the shows at the tail end of last year have qualified, so they're there. Like Juan, Nathan, and whoever else won one of those last qualifiers.
Cedric.
So there is people, but you need to definitely let a few people through that perhaps have done well lead up. It's a tough one.
So who do you think is going to win then? Obviously, do you think Brandon can repeat?
On the current lineup, yeah, Brandon can repeat definitely, because I can't see. Brandon wasn't 100% at the last Olympia.
Yeah,
like not quite 100%, and he knows that. And if he was, maybe the margin would have been a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
I've seen, I was at the Arnold, like I said to you earlier, and I was looking at people in the flesh, doing my best to kind of analyse. And obviously the only person who wasn't in that lineup really that was top tier was Brandon and say like Luke. So I was trying to see where they would all fit. And I like William. I think William's really good, but he just doesn't have, for me, Mr. Olympia structure.
Okay.
So I just can't see someone like him, in all honesty, beating Brandon. Not because I don't think he's phenomenal, because I think Bonak's one of the most muscled people out there and looks great.
He looked good. He did look good at the Arnold, mate. He looked bloody good at the Arnold, didn't he? He was a clear winner.
When you think of Mr. Olympia is this kind of. It sounds weird, but there's a certain silhouette to it.
Right. Okay.
And if you don't have the silhouette, you're not Mr. Olympia. And I don't know why. And that's just my opinion. You can hate like anyone that doesn't agree. That's cool. You have to have a certain waist. You have to have certain lats. You have to have a certain leg. There's a certain look that has. When I see the man walk out on stage at Olympia and it's just the shadow, the black silhouette.
Right. Okay.
I know if they're Mr. Olympia or not.
Okay.
And I know you're the same. I know you're a good judge, and you'll say you can tell when someone's Mr. Olympia, because there's a lot to do with shape, not just what's within it.
Yeah, that's why I'd love to see Rowley come in like he was in 2018 Olympia. I mean, he was third place there, and he just looked tremendous, and he's kind of dropped off a little bit since then. What do you think he could do?
He could do really well, as long as he comes in and just he's dry as. Listen, most of them are just missing. I know. I'm not trying to be one of them guys that's like always criticising the guys for not being dry as a bone. But I have to be at the minute, because that is the case.
Yeah.
Come in like Huddy and you can win. You just got to come in like Huddy. Like, you just literally got to come in so separated, like not a film of water on you and full, and the chips will lay where they will.
Yeah.
There's 5 guys. There's probably 4 to 5 guys that can win the Olympia. I mean, it just depends who peaks best.
What do you think Flex Lewis is going to do coming into the Open this year?
I saw Flex earlier in the year when I was over in Tampa. Me and Luke actually went and caught up with him for a bit. Flex has all the tools to do really well. I don't know. He's mate. Listen, he's a friend of mine. I don't know if he can win because of not because of the shape isn't there. It's because I don't know if he'll have the muscle mass in certain areas.
Well, I've no idea what. I mean, I've heard, like, I spoke to Dennis James last week, who said he thinks Flex will come in 230 plus. I spoke to Flex at the 2018 press conference, Olympia, and I said, what do you think your physique looks its best at? And he said 226 at 4 weeks out. I've got other. I forget who else said he thinks the flex won't be any heavier than 218, and I'm thinking, I have.
What was Huddy? 223.
What? Sorry.
What was Huddy? 223 at the Olympia.
Huddy was. I was doing the wrap up with Hani Rambod, and he said, I'm going to go back to the hotel or whatever, and I'm going to weigh Hadi, because he didn't even know. I'm sure he said 216, 217.
Okay, because I thought he was actually slightly lighter at Vancouver and then heavier at the Olympia, but it might be the other way around.
Yeah, I've heard varying.
Whatever one it was, I
216
think
to 218, 216 to 218.
It just shows that if Flex is probably around 220, he's definitely a top 3 guy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Flex, because remember this is his first go at it, so
hang on.
I think he could be top 3.
Hang on, first go at what?
Open class Olympia.
No, the Olympia, because he's done open.
Yeah, not open class. Open class.
Yeah. So, and do you know what? In 2011, when he did the Mr. Europe in Madrid, he got third. Yeah, and then I was there, and he did the Arnold Europe, the first ever one that Victor Martinez won. He was 5th place there. Yeah. I was with Neil and Flex then, and he because they really wanted to fill him out as much as possible to see, and that was before the 212 came into being.
He was closer to 202 again.
No, he was 206 pounds at the Mr. Europe, so he was only 206, and he was beating guys like Tony Freeman, Robert Piotrkowicz. So it's like does he have to be 230? Does he
No.
Look at Hadi. Look at Hadi. Great example.
Yeah, he doesn't. He only needs to be like around 220, I think, because that'll show. Because he's not a tall guy, so why does he need to be that much heavier? Where's it going to go? As long as thing with Flex for me, like me just pointing it out, where I would say that his weaknesses are, as long as they're full. Yep. So maybe if the chest is nice and full and the legs are nice and full, because he's got good legs, but they're not quite as full as they have been in the past.
He's held back. He's held back on them.
Yeah, I know. I feel like now he could go ham on him again. Yeah, he should,
because he used to be very bottom heavy. Actually, when he was a junior, he was like almost like a men's physique upper body and like these huge Tom Platz legs. And I remember saying, because everyone was raving about him, I says he ain't going to do well as a mister. I said he's not balanced enough. And then 3 years later, he turned pro in 2007, managed to balance his physique out. Then he had to back off on the legs when he was only training hamstrings and calves. Yeah. It was like so.
But he's smart enough to do that. He's a smart guy. Because he's willing. He's willing, unlike most bodybuilders, to back off, whereas most don't.
Yeah. And Neil won't let him lose his aesthetics or his waistline if he, so he's not going to bring him in too heavy and below all his lines, is he?
Flex has a similar physique. Like I feel like him and Luke Sander have a very similar. Their strong points, like their triceps, their quads, calves. Like they have similar. For me, they have similar aesthetics. So if Luke can do as well as he did, if Flex gets a bit more weight, I can see. Yeah. I can see it, because I compared their physiques a lot. I feel like they had some good strong points together.
Yeah. I'd love to see them train calves together, them two.
Oh mate, Luke didn't even train his calves though like that.
What?
Like, I trained my calves. Luke didn't train. Every time I was like, let's train calves, Luke's like, meh. Because he just knew they were good.
Do you know the gym I train at in Halifax? It was first originally owned by Billy Payne, who at the time was trained with Dorian Yates, and he copied some of the pieces of equipment from Temple Gym, like the Nautilus pullover, and he's got the old style, the calf raise. And the owner Derek Clark said to me, he said, he says there's only it was only Billy and Dorian that could move the weight stack for decent reps, set after set. And I remember challenging Luke. And because I called it the Beast, and I was challenging him, I was tagging him in on Instagram, and I said, "You're going to come?" Because he said most of the machines that he would do calves on, he said he couldn't actually get enough weight on them. No weight stacks were big enough for his calves.
Well, Luke said that.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he says I just can't. Calves is difficult for me, because I can't get enough weight on the machine.
Charles, I'm just too fucking strong. What can I say?
I was like, yeah, okay, thanks, mate.
I've actually trained with Billy before. Billy trains hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still trains hard now.
Yeah.
Me, Billy, and Anth Bales had a session.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you film it?
He's old. No, but me and Anth did film a session together actually. But Billy weren't there that time. Wow. But good guys, very good guys.
No Leroy as well.
Leroy's been. Did I train? No, we're actually due. Me and Amp are due a session with Leroy involved. Me and Luke were meant to go and train with them.
That would be amazing.
Luke and Amp.
Wow, that would be amazing. Honestly, getting trained with, because I've filmed Leroy many times at Temple Gym, and he's Yeah, he's wow. That'd be a very cool video to watch. That will get views.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Make
it's
it
a promise.
happen. Yeah.
Luke wanted it done, so I'll make sure it gets done.
Well, there you go, mate. Okay, then, James, I really appreciate this, mate. It's been a great interview. I really appreciate you taking the time. Good to catch up with you, mate. And I'm very, very excited to see what you're going to bring, mate, next time. Because tell you guys, he's working with Patrick Tuor, and this guy he's like 290. I could see you on stage in the 260s, 270s. Honestly, I mean, I know body weight's not. You got to be dry, and it doesn't matter what you weigh, but if you can retain 90% of the mass and the bubbliness in that roundness that you've got now, I just think you're gonna shock people, mate. I tell you that now. I'm gonna
agree. I'm gonna have to be.
I'm gonna agree. Yes, I concur.
Nice to speak to you, mate.
Yeah. All right then, James. I will speak to you very soon, mate.
Nice one, dude. Nice one, guys. Okay.
And welcome back to MD Globe Muscle here at the On The Rise Media Studios with me, your host, Giles Thomas, and we're joined all the way from New York, George the Bull Peterson. Yay! For a second time. Yay!
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's always great to, interview with you, Giles, and I'm missing AJ, man.
Yeah.
I miss seeing you guys together.
Yeah. Well, he's on kind of. He's screwed really in Norway, can't fly, so we can't get him over here, So
yeah.
So how are you doing anyway, mate? I mean, obviously, has a lot to cover actually. Where do we start? Now, obviously, the big news was you leaving the classic class. You took 2 third places at the Olympia. You won the Arnold Classic last year. And then you made the decision to step out of the classic class. How has that gone?
It's actually gone phenomenal, better than I imagined, actually, because now I'm allowing my body to put on the muscle. Like it's like the handcuffs have just come off now. You know what I mean? Now I'm allowing my body to do what it wants to do during a contest prep, and that's put on the muscle and keep that muscle. I was fighting against that to have to make the weight for classic. So it feels like, 212 is perfect for me at this point.
Gotta be honest, mate. I'm trying to remember, because we had lunch at the Olympia and you said that your weight cutoff limit for the classic was it 191?
192.
192. Sorry, a pound out. And you're one of the guys that once you've made weight, you're someone who actually you go up in body weight. Some guys, they kind of keep dropping, don't they?
Yeah. So I have to make weight, and then I try to fill myself back out to for stage.
So what were you? So is it 198? I think you were at the Olympia on stage that you said you would be. Correct?
That is correct. I was 198 by the time I got on stage.
Okay, now the pictures you've posted recently, you're at 234. It begs the question. I think you know where I'm going with this. Are you going to struggle to make 212?
I mean, that's a good question. That's something that me and my coach Justin Miller discussed. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, there's a possibility that I could, be stage ready, 216, 215. I mean, I don't think it'll be a problem this first year. I honestly, I mean, if I'm stage ready at 215, then making 212, that shouldn't be no problem. That's just a couple of pounds. Boom, that's it. But in the future, I can see if I keep going in this direction where I'm progressing and keep adding muscle tissue in the right places, I can definitely foresee making 212 being a problem eventually. But I think for right now, I think I'll be okay.
Has anyone actually done that? Has anyone done more than 2 different categories in the pros? So you're going to go from classic to 212, potentially, if you keep growing, we're going to see you possibly in the open one day.
Right. I mean, I don't think that's ever been done. I mean, and to his credit, I mean, like, granted, before there wasn't all these divisions before, and now that we have all these divisions, we have all these options. So I think you're going to see that kind of stuff happen even more. But yeah, I don't think it's ever been done. But you know what? I feel like each division it's like kind of like it's tailor made. You know, it's like each division kind of prepares you for the next. Like I feel like Classic, all those years, those 3 years I did in Classic, prepared me for this transition to 212. Yeah. Like if I would have tried to do 212, you know, back when I first came back on the scene in 2016, 2017, I wouldn't have been ready for 212.
Right.
You know, but those years, you know what I mean? Those years in Classic prepared me, you know?
Yeah. Going back to, I have seen someone do 3 divisions. I'm sure there was a guy that did men's physique. Was it not Stanimal? Does it men's physique? And then he went to Classic, and then he went to 212. I'm sure there's someone. And I know there was a girl that did, a British pro that did fitness, figure, and then she dropped down to bikini. And I think she did fitness. Yeah, she did. I think she did 3 or 4. So it has happened today. But like you said, it's a progression, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a progression. Like it's like one division prepares you for the next. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I think, like I said, I think you're gonna see more guys doing stuff like that. You're gonna see more guys going from men's physique to Classic, and then eventually, you know, they keep progressing. They'll go from Classic to 212. It'll be like a ladder, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you can really kind of enjoy your training a lot more and your prep a lot more without the pressure of having to drop down to 192?
Oh, 100%. Because I think I told you, I think I told you and AJ before that. You know what? It was like the most stressful part of that prep was making 192. Like, you know, the only thing I had in my mind was, like I got to make weight. Or, you know, what would happen if I don't make weight? I mean, that's gonna be like it's like so embarrassing. I don't make weight. Got to make weight. You know, of course, you know, like I always had Justin there to kind of, you know, keep me calm. You know, just, you know, we're professionals, so we're going to always make weight. But that was so always in my mind. And then when I would make weight, it's like a huge weight would be lifted off my shoulders. Now competing is easy. You know,
Justin, pass me the carbs, please.
Exactly.
Give me some food. Oh my God. So what point would it get? Like I remember speaking to Flex Lewis, and he said like literally at 4 weeks out he'd be at 226 stage ready, and he would be really from 4 weeks out. He said that's when it really got stressful, and it was on my mind every second of every day. When did it really start to get hard for you in the Classic? Those last 2 years as a Classic.
It started to get hard for me around, I would say, by the time I get to like, you know, 208, 209. That's like because I'll be, you know, peeled,
you ready,
sharp, still full, ready. Yeah, you know,
yeah.
Just you know, so you know, so coming down to that 192 at that point was, you know, just very hard. I mean, and I had to sacrifice at least 10 pounds of muscle to make that weight, 100%. You know, and when you have to do stuff like that, Giles, you already know. Like that weight majority of time comes from your weaker body parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
how many weeks out would you be at 208 then?
At 208, I think I'll be at 208 around. I think I'm like 5 weeks out, 2 weeks out. Yeah, like 5 weeks out. I'm sorry, 5 weeks out. Yeah, 5-4.
Yeah, that's tough. I remember when Jose Raymond went at the 202, and he said the kind of issues he'd have. I remember I was reading an MD article a few years ago, and he was saying he was literally starving and almost dehydrating himself. He said it was actually, he said it got to a point where he felt like it wasn't really good for his health to kind of drop down to that 202 limit. And really, because it's a lot of mental pressure, isn't it? Really, you know, go from, if you're ready at like 208 and you know you've got to drop another 16 pounds to get to even to be able to be allowed on stage. You know, it's I can't imagine how stressful that, but how much pressure that must be on top of your contest prep.
Oh yeah, it's like it's crazy, you know, stressful on top of, you know, everything else. You know, and it's like, and it's a science too, because of course if we wanted to, we could just you know, suck me down to 192. But the key is to get down to that weight and still keep the look that we want. I mean, I could get stuck down to 192 no problem and look stringy as hell, but we don't want that. You know what I mean? So that's the key. The key is to get down to that weight, but keep the look. That's what made it hard. You know?
Now you've shown me these pictures of you at 234. A little bit of video we're going to use. How has your physique changed? Because the thing is, you're still, I mean, you're looking in really good condition for 234, mate. I mean, it's like, I was really impressed to see that you're holding such good condition. So how has your physique changed now? Is it just bigger overall, or is it, or is a certain body parts, body parts, have they, have really improved since you've had no weight restrictions?
Yeah, well, most definitely. Certain body parts have improved, tremendously without having those restrictions. Like, my legs have, this is like, the best that my legs have, ever looked. And actually, and you know what, the biggest change I've noticed is that this is the most conditioned that I've ever been at a weight of 234 ever. Like, last time I was like 234, like during my classic days, it was kind of like it looked nothing like this.
Yeah.
It was like, it was kind of. I mean, not like fat, but nothing like what you're seeing, in like what I posted up. I mean, like right now I'm hard and abs are tight, so it's a much better look at 234.
Yeah, and during obviously the quarantine, you've still managed to be. You're one of the lucky ones. You've had access to train. Have you had any issues with getting to the gym or having anywhere to kind of be able to train?
At the first, when it first happened and went down, yeah, I mean, it was a major problem. I pretty much had to work out at home for pretty much every day.
Wow.
But yeah, but as things kind of went on and things will cool down a little bit. I mean, we're hearing the numbers are starting to settle down a bit.
Yeah.
Justin, my coach Justin Miller, he has gym equipment at his home, so I to go over his house from time to time. He has a little garage. I go over his house and I just train there, everything like that. And we've just been able to, make it work, thankfully. Right now, it kind of feels like, survival mode, I mean, because we just got to stay afloat until the gates open up and they let us all just get on with our normal lives, Well,
it's like I had Greg Valentino on last week, and he's from New Jersey, isn't he? You're from New York.
Yes.
Where are you from again? No, I don't want to say the Bronx.
No, I was actually born in the Bronx, so that's pretty good, Giles.
Okay.
But I was I'm in Queens.
Okay.
Queens, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you ever saw Coming to America?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're a king and you want to find a queen, you come to Queens. So hey, let's go.
I'm just remembering that bit when he's on the balcony and they say, "Fuck you," and he goes, "Fuck you too." So that's where you lived, was it? Is that where you lived?
That's where I lived. My neighbors tell me to fuck me every day.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, I've just got horses and cows around me, so yeah. So I mean, I hate talking about the whole virus situation, but has it affected you in any way? I mean, obviously, because you really are in. Sorry, I was going to say before. Greg was saying that you really are in. He called it Corona. Was it Corona Central? Wasn't it? Colin?
Yeah, I'm in the hot spot. Yep.
Yeah. So has it affected you in any way? How is it? How are you? I wonder how you'd been in the middle of the kind of the worst hit play. I wonder how it affects you guys mentally.
Well, I mean, I could pretty much only speak for myself. I mean, I'm definitely aware that this is the hot spot area, and I've been hearing of certain people from the neighborhood who they say have passed from COVID-19.
Oh, really? The people die. You've known people who have died.
Yeah, I mean, actually, and sadly, unfortunately, like my godbrother, his father, recently passed, and they diagnosed him with COVID-19. So that was like the closest that it ever hit to home. Because me and my godbrother and his family are extremely close.
Yeah.
So that was the closest that it hit to home. But as far as it like affecting me, like I kind of didn't, and this is just the way I am. I kind of didn't let it affect me too much, but because this is the way I feel about the whole scenario and the situation.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a plan for all of us. And if and I'm a believer in God, so like I feel like if it's in God's plan for me to catch COVID-19, then I can stay in the house all I want. That's not going to change anything. I mean, I'm gonna get it because that's in my plan.
Yeah.
But if it's not in my plan, then so basically my point is I feel like you just have to live your life as much as you can.
Yeah.
Don't be too paranoid about this and that. Still take the precautions necessary, but just live your life. So and I'm just trying to live with that mentality.
That kind of puts you more in control rather than it in control of you, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that's the worst thing you could do is when you let it control you. I mean, because if you anything can happen to any of us. I mean, we could step outside and, God forbid we could get hit by a car. I mean, if it's in the plan, I mean, it's just like when we lost Kobe just so recently, right? Like, everybody was like so shocked. And I mean, I was shocked. I was like, wow, like, why? Like, everybody was like, why? How did this happen? And they would say he would ride helicopters, for years. Why all of a sudden now, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
The only thing you could really attest it to it was his time. It was his time. You know what I mean? So
that's like, yeah. It reminds me of, as you said that before, it reminded me when Ronnie Coleman said, he said, look, he says, I never thought of becoming Mr. Olympia. He said, I just started bodybuilding competing because Brian Dobson offered me a free gym membership. He said, it was God that wanted me to be Mr. Olympia. He said, so I just kind of followed his plan.
Right.
Like, he never intended. It's like, no, I never set out. Like, you see some bodybuilders and they like Dorian Yates, he's like, from day one, he's like, I'm going to win the Olympia one day. That was the goal. And like Ronnie's completely the opposite. He's like, no, this is God's plan.
Exactly. I mean, and that's kind of like, I was talking to my mother last night about it, and I was just thinking about it, because from year 2013 to 2016, that was the years I was out of the sport. I didn't want nothing to do with bodybuilding. I was completely retired. I had no plans of ever coming back, and just by circumstance that I met Justin Miller and kind of through that interaction, it kind of like, it's almost like something pulled me back into the sport.
Yeah.
So that I also feel like it was God's plan for me to come back, because I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, you know what, I want to get back in the bodybuilding. It just happened,
Yeah. Well, Sean Roden, wasn't he? He was kind of in the sport, and then he was out of it for 10 years, and then he kind of came back and kind of followed his path, didn't he?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about your plans, because I think we all want to know what you're going to be doing next. Have you given any thought to your first 212 show?
Well, yeah. I mean, I announced, way before everything got postponed, that it was going to be New York Pro.
Yeah. I think we all saw that one coming.
Yeah. And that's actually still. I mean, that's still. My plan to do New York Pro, which I believe it got postponed to October, I believe. So
hang on, I'm sure that it was September. Then it was put back to. I'm sure it's been put back to August.
What? Really?
I saw on the NPC that someone put. I don't know whether it was an old post, but I'm sure because they pushed it back to September, the end of September, and I saw a post a few days ago saying they pushed it forward to August, but maybe that was an old post. I don't know.
I think that might have been an old post. I'm gonna double check that, but because the way I remember it is they first postponed it to September.
Yeah.
And then I remember it got postponed again to later to October.
Oh, okay, I can't keep up, mate.
So I'm gonna double check it, but regardless whether it's in September, October, or August, I plan on making that my first debut, my 212 pro debut.
Have you given any thought to any other shows, or is it literally just one show you're focused on?
Oh no, absolutely. I definitely have given thought to. I mean, at this point, when I was looking at it, how everything, all these shows were getting canceled, I was saying to myself, you know what? If I gotta do every 212 show that's left, then I'll do it. Like so.
Oh, wow.
Tampa's an option. Yeah, Tampa's an option. Boston is an option.
Mm-hmm. Chicago.
Chicago definitely is an option. I believe there's also a show in Puerto Rico that's got pushed back as well, I believe, and that's also an option. So hey, look, even if I do all four, I don't got no problem with doing that.
So I'm just trying to visualize how or kind of imagine how your physique is going to weigh and how it's going to look as a 212, because if you were doing the classic and you were having to go down to weigh in at 192, and then by the time you hit the stage you were like 198, are you gonna? I think with the way your physique is looking at 234, are you gonna have to sort of suck down to 212 and then bounce up to maybe close to 220 by the time you get on stage? What have you and Justin spoke about how you will weigh and look in your first 212 show?
Yeah, we've discussed that, and we're thinking possibly that I'll, make weight at 212, and I could potentially be on stage around 215, 216. We're not going to probably not go up to 220, not yet.
Yeah.
Because we still want to keep that razor sharp look. But yeah, I would say 215, 216. But also at the end of the day,
yeah,
we're not going to get so caught up in the numbers either. We're going to be going by that mirror.
Yeah.
So even though it's not going to be this, even if I had to come down to 210 to get the look that I want, then we'll do it. But it's not going to be that. It's going to be 212 and then probably 215, 216.
Yeah, but the thing is, mate, that's still anywhere from 12 to 16 pounds heavier than when we last saw you on stage at the Olympia in 2019.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy.
So it'll be a dramatic difference, and I'm excited. I'm very excited to see how, because even myself, I'm not even sure, I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be very crazy. Yeah.
Okay. Are you excited for the Olympia this year?
I am. I'm excited, and I'm also very curious to know, how it's gonna be. Is there gonna be an expo? How's the audience participation gonna be? Is it gonna be social distancing, 6 feet, kind of seating going on? I'm just curious to know how it's gonna all play out. But I definitely am excited for it, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed and praying that it goes off, without a hitch.
Yeah, I to be honest, I've not thought about it that much, because things seem to be changing so much all the time for the better at the moment. Things definitely seem to be, certainly in the UK, things are definitely, lockdowns are being relaxed. So I try not to think about it too much,
No, I hear you. I mean, but I'm definitely 100% excited for the Olympia. I can't wait for it. I'm ready, for us to all get back to, doing what we do. I'm anxious for all the shows to start.
Yeah. I think we all are. We're missing the shows. We're missing seeing who's moving up, and kind of the new faces and how people are going to be looking. Because I'll be to be honest, I wanted to get you on the show again when I saw those pictures at 234 that you posted the other day. I was like, right, because I always have you because we've had you on the show before. You're a fantastic guest. I think you're a great guy, and it's someone, and you're really good as well. You're a really good bodybuilder. But when I saw those pictures, I was like, oh, I've got to get him on again. I've got to find out what is going on there. But so excited. So what about work? Because you work for a cable company, don't you?
Yeah, I work for a cable company called Optimum here in the tri-state area in the States. And we service areas like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And in the beginning of the whole, COVID-19 and everything like that, we were still, all coming into the office. But then when it got really bad, with the whole, lockdown situation, they actually allowing us to work from home. So now I'm able to work from home. And I got to tell you, I freaking love it. I love working from home. You know what I'm saying? It's so much better because it's like, because I live in Queens, but the office is in Long Island. So I got, drive from Queens to Long Island, which I normally do anyway because I, train out there in Bevis. But when I'm finished at work, then I got to drive, 30 minutes, 35 minutes home. And now I finish work, I log out of the computer, go right upstairs, get into bed, and go to sleep. Boom.
Yeah,
it's so much better. Yeah. I love it.
And obviously, the other big news was you were signed with Redcon. So how's that going?
Yes. Oh, it's just phenomenal. I love Redcon. Everybody, Aaron Singerman, my boy Rudy, who's the athlete manager. It was all one big family, and the one thing I love about us at Redcon, we're very conscious of everything that's going on in the world, so we always doing things, to, in honor of, certain things, like we have Memorial Day, weekend deal. One thing we was doing for the whole, COVID-19 is we were, I think we still are, we were giving out MRE bars to first responders.
Oh, that's good. I saw that. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Yeah. So we're all like, that's what we're constantly doing. We're constantly coming out with new products, like because of the whole, like we came out with this vitamin C, which can help with immune system, boost an immune system, which a lot of us need, especially now. So I just love it. Redcon One is like just top notch.
I saw that. Was it Northern Lights flavor of one of their products?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
That's so cool, man. I was like, because I like seeing creativity, because you know what the supplement industry is like. It's very copycat. It's very like a new flavor comes, everyone copies it. And I thought sometimes it's really hard for these companies to stay original, you know? And I just thought, whoever's their marketing guy there, he's pretty smart. or she, sorry.
Very. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, extremely smart.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. So let's talk about training. How's your training been going? Have you changed it now? Would you have changed your training in any way since you left the Classic? That's it, or is it the same?
It's relatively the same. I mean, because even when I was training for Classic, I was still, going, high intensity, training as heavy as I can, but still being safe about it. Which I'm essentially still doing the same now, for training for 212. I mean, that's the one thing, a lot of people ask me, like, what has changed as far as my prep from Classic to 212?
Yeah.
And really, I mean, as far as training, nothing has changed. The only thing that's really changed is, like the eating. Like now I can eat more. I can eat more. And that's going to be pretty much it. And as far as like, just manipulating, little things here and there when it comes crunch time, we got the 1 week out mark. I mean, those little things, some things are going to change there, here and there, but for the most part, not much has changed. So my training is still hard, heavy intensity. Just now I can just, like all this muscle muscle tissue that I'm adding on. Now it just feels good. I'll be able to keep it. I don't feel like I'll be losing anything.
Something I always like to ask bodybuilders with very, 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 very dominant body parts, like your back. Some bodybuilders, say when they have like arms that are just ridiculous, it's like they will back off on training. Do you actually, like Flex Lewis, when at the start, his legs, he was very bottom heavy, so he backed off in his leg training and everything kind of balanced out. Do you actually, have you changed your training, or do you just hit it as hard as ever?
That's funny you asked that. That's a great question. Actually, I'll give you a little story about that. I remember after I won nationals with Justin in Classic, and we were talking about wanting to balance out my physique and everything. And I asked him, okay, well, do you think I should kind of lay off from training back so everything else kind of catches up?
Yeah.
He was like, hell no, keep training back with crazy hard. And so I was like, okay. So, but so I still go crazy on back, no matter what. I mean, because look, you can never have too much back. I mean, guys who are leg dominant, they're actually fortunate ones, because I think it's legs is always that body part that every bodybuilder wants to have. So they're very fortunate. But I mean, what I basically do is I just manipulate how I eat throughout the week to kind of help balance it out. So what I'll do is on my back days, since that's like pretty much my most dominant body part, I'll kind of starve that body part by having low carbohydrates on that particular day.
Yeah.
But on my days, let's say leg days, or even I'll have high carbs
on the day or the day before.
So I have the calories high. On the day before legs and on the day of legs, I'll do that. I'll have high calories, and then every other day it'll pretty much be kind of low. Do you know what
I used to do when I was a teenager, because I used to like worship Tom Platz the night, because I used to do legs on a Saturday morning. I used to have to catch the bus for an hour. The night before, he would always. I remember Tom Platz used to say, he says, "If you want to have a good leg session, squatting session." He said, load up on a lot of carbs the night before. I remember I used to have a big plate of pasta with grated cheese on the night before. Literally stuffed myself so my glycogen levels would be so full. And I think I just got fat on it. So it just really resonated what you said there, about having a lot of carbs on a day of a body part that you want to improve.
Right, exactly, yeah. But, that sounds actually fabulous. I'd love to have a big pot of pasta, like that. But that's pretty much what I do. I don't back off of any body part. I still give every body part heavy, hard, intense training. But I just manipulate it with the food intake.
Yeah. How tall are you, George?
I'm almost 5'8", just a little bit under 5'8".
You're quite tall for a 212.
I know. I mean, that's what's gonna make it interesting to see. How I'll be one of the taller guys. So how will it look? I don't know. I mean, look, one thing I plan to do is I plan to, bring a level of aesthetics to the 212 division. I mean, look, I mean, does a 212 guy have to be
George?
short?
The reason I'm saying that, mate, is because you seem to be one of the guys, certainly were in the Classic, that people said, how is that guy even making Classic? Because I don't know whether you're just light boned or you've got those crazy muscle bellies that kind of you look. I think you'll be able to carry it off in the 212 because you certainly carried it off in the Classic. Because at one night it was like the guys were saying that guy looks like an open bodybuilder. Like you're like many. I've interviewed bodybuilders and they've said he's got like an open back on a Classic competitor. You know, that's why a lot of people I think argued why you were really what they would term as a Classic competitor because you brought so much muscle. So I don't think you're going to have a problem being at 5'8". I really don't.
I appreciate that. I mean, I'm curious to see how it's gonna be, because it's gonna be definitely a contrast, but as long as I bring my absolute best each and every time, I don't see us really having a problem.
I mean, another thing is that you've got a lot of muscle, you've got good balance, and to be honest, I'm just trying to think of anyone who's got better conditioning than you. Seriously. I'm trying to think.
We got guys who get pretty ripped. I mean, like my homeboy Sean Clarita, he gets pretty diced.
Yeah.
The current 212 Olympia Kamal, he gets really ripped.
Yeah.
From what I remember seeing from him. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be. I don't know. I mean, you could. It's hard for me to kind of judge myself because I hate kind of judging myself as far as like who has the best condition.
Well, it is a sport of comparison. Some thing is, I mean, people are going to do it for you otherwise.
Exactly.
So I know a lot of things though. I asked that question, and a lot of bodybuilders just say literally they only focus on themselves. It's like I asked Ronnie last week. I asked him about, in this Olympia, did you think that Jay was? He goes, to be honest, he said, I don't even notice these guys on stage because I'm so immersed. He said he talked about other competitors, and he even talked about the crowd, about how. He says he doesn't even notice them because he's so kind of caught up in what he's doing and the adrenaline's pumping and, like, so you got all these guys being compared, but really they're comparing themselves to themselves, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's actually very true. And it's like, take it another step further. It's almost like, I remember I was thinking to myself, it's like, I never, after a show is done, specifically like after the Olympias are done, like I never have like a full memory of everything that took place on stage. Because it's like you said, like the adrenaline is pumping, and once I step on stage, I kind of step into a trance. Yeah. Where once it's all done, and then I think back to those moments on stage, I only remember like bits and pieces here and there. Like I don't remember the full thing. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Plus, I think the 212 and Classic guys, when you've got something like. And you struggle to maybe make a weight limit, whereas say like Sean Clarita, he's never had to worry about making 212.
All right, yeah,
because he's 170, 180. He doesn't have to think 6 weeks out. Oh no, I have to working out the calculations because he's way under. But I think sometimes, I just think sometimes I think maybe that's been on your mind so much that do you think that maybe affects your ability to immerse yourself on the day? I don't know. Is that just a bit of a wild thing to think about?
I mean, no. I don't really. I don't think so. I mean, this is the one thing. That was the one thing I was really looking forward to when we made the decision to go to 212. Basically, just to now I'm feeling like okay, now I can finally get ready for a show. And not have the stress factor, of wondering whether or not I'm gonna make this weight. I know we're gonna have to come down, but I know we'll make it. So that's like. You know what I mean? Like it just like it was like, oh, finally, let's go. Like because I've been dealing with that for 3 years now.
The thing is, mate, I know I keep going back to it, but 234 in that condition, I think you might. Do you think you're going to run into the same issues with 212 you did with Classic with being able to make weight? Seriously, do you think you will? Because you're growing, mate. You're growing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, now it's possible, and if that happens, then so be it. We just deal with it like we did before. It would actually be kind of cool if that happened, because that would mean that we really put on some serious muscle.
Yeah.
But
imagine if you got to the Olympia. Imagine if you get to the Olympia and you don't make weight in the 212.
Could you imagine that?
Oh no!
I wonder if that happens, if they would give me a pardon and let me compete in the Open instead.
To be honest, I don't think. I'm just trying to think if that has happened, because I know that bodybuilders have been asked to sort of go back. I just imagine that though, if you got to the Olympia and you weighed in 212.8 or 213, and they said sorry, I think what would happen?
Yeah, I really don't know. The only thing I remember something like that going down. I remember my first year as a Classic Physique Pro, and I did Chicago Pro. This is 2017, and I think a few guys didn't make weight, and they didn't turn them away. They just said, okay, well, you know what? Now you didn't make weight. Now you got to compete in either Open or 212. Put
some board shorts on and do men's physique.
Oh yeah,
imagine I just put some board shorts on. Right, sod this. I'm doing men's physique.
Right.
Just don't flex. Yeah. All that dieting, all that prep, all that training, and you can't even flex.
right, exactly. But that was pretty wild though. But I don't know what would happen if let's say if something like that happened at the Olympian and you didn't make weight.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we'll make weight. We'll make weight.
Okay. Then. So what do you think is going to happen at the Mr. Olympia this year? Who do you think is going to win and why?
The Open Mr. Olympia?
Oh yeah.
Huh. Let's see. All right, so
come on, give it to me.
Well, all right. Well, we're gonna go with the names that we know that will be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I think Brandon Curry, he's a phenomenal champion.
Yep.
I could actually honestly, I could potentially see Bonac possibly taking that.
Yeah.
And someone who I could also definitely see taking that, even though we haven't seen him up there yet, but I could definitely see him taking it, is Flex Lewis.
You think Flex Lewis could win the Open Mr. Olympia?
I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he can. I think he can.
What do you think he'll weigh? What do you think he'll weigh though?
He'll man.
Because I've heard wild speculations ranging from 218 to 230, and that's quite a big difference on a guy who's like 5'5",
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, I was gonna think maybe like, I don't know, maybe two. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe 220, between 220, 225.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe. I mean, because I know he's not going to want to sacrifice any of his trademark conditioning.
Yeah, he'll always Neil Hill would drag him off. Wouldn't even let him get near the stage if he wasn't bone dry.
Right, exactly. So maybe something around that 220, 225. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I'm a big fan of William Bonac. I think, and I feel like he could definitely get that title, and it's him and Flex Lewis. I feel like they could. I mean, but Brandon Curry, like I say, he's a phenomenal champion, so he could definitely end up repeating it as well.
Do you know what I've seen in the last few months? If you think back to when Brandon Curry won the Olympia, you think about how much flack he came in for, saying, oh, it was a fluke, he won in a weak year, blah, 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 he wasn't at his best. And now I've seen a real kind of change of opinion. There's a lot of people now going, oh yeah, of course he could win again. It's honestly, I've seen a real shift in people going, well, he was lucky. He was just lucky. Now they're going, of course, like Milos Sarcev, Dennis James, guys like real experts, real people who really know the sport inside out, saying Brandon Curry absolutely could win a second year.
Yeah, I know. I mean that typically happens. I think it wasn't. I don't think it was fair to Brandon for people to be saying he only won because it was a weak year and whatnot. Look, that's irrelevant. I mean, he won. He was the best guy according to the judges at that time, whoever was there, then he's the Mr. Olympia, whether it's a weak lineup or not, you can only beat who's there.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He did. Yeah. It's just like, I see like in other sports, on ESPN, you'll hear guys saying that when Mike Tyson was running terror, that he really never beat any real good guy. That's what they always say. But he beat whoever was there at that time.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of them.
Exactly.
Scared them half to death before they even probably got into the ring. That was I think a lot of that was his mental. It was, I think, just even looking at that guy, I think a lot of guys were defeated even before a punch was thrown.
Yeah, exactly.
Psyched him out.
Right. Psyched him out. Yeah. So look, Brandon, he's Mr. Olympia. He was the best guy there on that day, and that's what it's all about. If he comes back, even better than he was last year.
Full year as well. He's got full year. No Arnold, because I remember speaking to Ronnie about. He said doing the Arnold Classic in 2001, which he won. He said because he had to then get ready for the Olympia. He said it nearly cost him the Olympia because he said my body just wasn't responding as well as it was on the first prep. Because he said trying to peak more than once in 1 year, like the way you peaked at those last two Olympias was unbelievable. I mean, it was like very rarely do I say, like I did the play-by-play, I said this guy could not be peaked any better. Like literally your conditioning, your separation, your fullness, it was literally, it was as good as you could have possibly got it. So I think even if you never competed again, you can say like there's, I mean, yes, it was acknowledged with 2 third places at the Olympia, in that, and you could have been high, you could have won it, you could have been second, whatever, but you can always say that you fulfilled your potential conditioning and peaking for a show that you were like prepping all year for. It's something really quite special to say.
Oh, absolutely, and that's I remember when you guys first interviewed me right after the Olympia. I mean, and that's kind of how we ended off that interview. I wanted to stress that. I was like, because that's the reason why, like, I'm not really, sad about coming in third and not getting the win because when I look back at how I looked, for that show, it's like, we did our job. You know what I mean? Like I did everything I possibly could.
Yeah.
With the weight that I was given there, I couldn't have looked any better. Me and Justin, we nailed it. So like, I feel like we have everything to be happy for. It's a subjective sport. So, it's not like, basketball where you just, put the ball in, boom, 2 points. But, so I'm just extremely happy with that. Cause like you said, not a lot of people can actually say like, they nailed it, but when you say that, it's like, that's all you can really ask for. And the goal in bodybuilding is to do that and keep progressing as you go on, regardless of the result, just keep progressing, It feels like a sacrifice and a trade-off. You said there, you were like, it was hard as a bodybuilder, as an athlete, to sacrifice 10 pounds of muscle. But what you got in return was like a body that literally could not have been peaked any better, fully complete, fully conditioned, separate, every single angle. I mean, it's I think that last Olympia you did, especially because I think that's something that it was a nice way to go out of the classic class. It's like you said, you literally, that's why you said you were leaving it, because you're like, look, I literally could not have brought anything better with the weight restriction. I did the best with my physique that I could bring. So if I still can't win it, then I'm off to the 212 and I'll try my luck there. Yeah. It's time to move on and make everything. And what I'm saying, you also have to put sometimes put things into perspective. And look at things with the glass half full rather than half empty. I mean, look, my goal for the last 3 years was to become the classic physique Mr. Olympia. Yeah. But I didn't get that. But maybe there's a reason why I didn't get that. Maybe there's something bigger waiting for me down the line. You know what I mean? So you have to think in terms of like that. To be honest, mate, I'm just really excited to see. It's like I'm excited to see Flex Lewis in the Open because now we're going to get to see the best version of him with no restrictions. And I think for at least, hopefully this first year in the 212, we're going to get to see the best version that you can bring
at this present time before you progress to the next point, and you're like, you're not even able to, like, you'll be like, you'll be coming on again in a year or two saying, oh man, I'm really having to sacrifice 10 pounds of muscle tissue to make the 212 here, you know? It's like, at least we're going to get to see the best version that you can bring as a 5'8", 212, you know, with the same conditioning, with the crazy body parts and the separation and the quality. I think it's really, it's going to be something to see, mate. And I'm really, really excited as a bodybuilding fan.
Hey, well, I appreciate that, Giles. And, I can't wait to, when things, go back to normal again, we link up on these shows and, talk, do some interviews and everything like that. It's going to be exciting, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
You can buy me lunch at Olympia again as well.
I got you.
He bought me lunch. I like this. I like this guy. I was like, you've earned yourself some serious brownie points, George.
That's right. Yeah. That was funny.
Turkey and broccoli it was. Turkey and broccoli we had.
Hey, hell yeah. Turkey and broccoli. I think all of you, like you and Justin and somebody else did too. Oh, my boy Ricky, who's recording me. All of y'all was enjoying that good food, and I think I was just sitting there with my Tupperware, my tilapia, and everything like that.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. All right then, George. It's always good to catch up, mate. And like I said, I hope I'm going to be paying very close attention to the 212 at the New York Pro this year. I hope you qualify for the Olympia. I'm sure you will. I hope you get your qualification in nice and early as well. I hope you don't have to do more than 2, 3, 4 shows, whatever. But it's going to be exciting to see you walk on stage as a 212, the new improved version, 10, 12, whatever pounds heavier. It's going to be something to see, mate. I'm really excited.
Hey, I really appreciate it, Giles. And I'll end it off by saying this. For everybody out there, all the viewers out there, appreciate all the support that you guys have given me these years in Classic. But I got to tell you that if you liked what you saw of me in Classic, then you're gonna love what you see of me in 212. I promise you that.
Nothing more needs to be said. Yeah. All right then, George. Well, all the best, mate, and I'll speak to you very soon.
All right, enjoy it.
Take care, buddy. Bye. And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On The Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we're joined by Chris Cormier. Yeah! Yeah, give yourself a clap, mate. Real deal. Come on, in the house. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, mate. You're one of my, you're one of the few yet that I had to get to complete my bucket list, for all-time favorites,
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time and and being patient because I had some travel going on. I had I had to get through my jet lag and all that stuff. So thanks.
First of all, there's two main things I want to start off with. First of all, fantastic job with Sergio Oliva at the Arnold.
Oh, thank you. That was it was a lot of work and it was well worth it. And I had a vision in my mind how I wanted him how to to present himself, and everything was calculated from A to Z, from the time we started to the type of poses you're going to use and the type of the attitude with the training, the posing, everything was all calculated. It worked out great though, but we were looking for at least that spot.
Yeah.
Where he placed also. Everything worked out great.
When he said he was going to make top 6 before the show, I was thinking, that's going to be tough because, there's some big guys in the show. And honestly, do you know when I really knew that he was going to do well? When he was brought out with Ramy, and he stood next to Ramy, and I was sat next to Steve Blackman, and I said, Steve, Ramy is not making Sergio look small, so you know that he's made improvements.
Yes, that's exactly what was my mindset when I saw that. I was like, okay, he's not getting dwarfed here, so we might be in the money, because that's another thing when you're training for a show. When you're dieting, you want to say, man, am I small? Am I getting too tight, or I need to be a little bit fuller? That's one thing you're thinking about the whole time you're getting ready for a show. So that was the one thing I saw the same thing.
I mean, so it was training and posing you most, because Chris Aceto does his diet, his nutrition, and you took care of his training and his posing. How long were you working with him for?
I stayed out there in San Diego for a couple of months prior to the show. Mm-hmm. I worked with Chris as a youngin myself, USA and stuff like that. So I had a really good understanding about what he likes to do already, and we meshed very well, and I think it's a great combination of having the very, very best of all the different aspects it takes, to compete.
Yeah. So I don't know whether Sergio's someone I could live with. What's he like? What's he like? I mean, I love you, Sergio. I love you, but you're a diva, mate. What was he like to live with then on prep? I can't imagine what that would be like. I can imagine him laughing now. Watching.
Well, I mean, we both we played some video games and stuff. We both like the PlayStation stuff. So
really? That
was one thing we had in common, and it's just I was watching him eat so many times, and I was sometimes we playing board games at night or something like that, or just I'm just like I'm just thinking bodybuilding the whole time. So sometimes it's like, hey, what about this? And this happened back in the day, and if this ever should happen, this is what you should do, stuff like that. So just being around each other a lot for that, and then going to the gym, different times for training, for cardio, for posing, for whatever. So sometimes we're posing in different places from the training, and sometimes it was. Sometimes it's a high carb day, so we're going out to, smash some good food at later on at night, and then it was just a lot of that.
I saw a post he put up today. Is it true or is he joking? Because he jokes a lot on his Instagram, that the airports are open now and he can fly back from Australia, or was that, I don't know, I'm trying to work out whether he was being truthful or not. Can he fly back now?
Yeah.
So he can fly.
The only thing was, it was what was available. That was a bigger thing. Right. So it was like there was not as many flights. So a lot of planes are totally grounded. Depending on what area you're on. So United always had one, but they wasn't going out of Melbourne, so we had to go from Gold Coast to Sydney, from Sydney to USA.
Yeah. Are you going to be working together more towards the end of the year?
Yes, that was the plan all along, was to continue on and hopefully get a qualification for the big dance at the end of the year. That was the plan, yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely with what he produced at the Arnold. Because I saw him afterwards, and he said because he felt he maybe should have beaten Steve Kucklow. I mean, I thought Steve looked very good, but I mean, it was such a to get top 5 at the Arnold in a lineup that tough, and to show those kind of improvements. Won the best poser, great speech. I mean, it was a real. You both achieved something really good there, because we were waiting for him to step up, because he had such a good pro debut, winning the 2017 New York Pro, and then he kind of got those 2 seconds. 2019, he kind of fell off a little bit with women drama, like we all have in our lives, and then it was really nice to see him come back with a bang like that. So fair play to you, mate. That's huge credit to the both of you on that one, mate.
Yeah, it was a lot of hard effort, man. It was he worked the cardio very hard. The posing I put him through was I'd say pretty damn hard. And I'm sure we can do more in the future like that. Yeah. And the training was no joke. That's one of my fortes is my personal training.
Yeah. I hope he gave you a cut on the posing award.
Yeah.
Now, actually, yeah. Now, you talk about training, because you've been tagging us in Global Muscle and a lot of athletes you're prepping. I saw you actually. I was in the gym training that day at the Atlantic. What's that gym called in Vegas where they all train across town? What's it called?
Athletic. Athletic.
That's right.
Or whatever they are.
Yeah,
like
I remember, because I was training, and I remember I just stopped doing it. I was doing a set. You were training Victor Martinez. Charles Glass was training Sean Roden. Rami was on the rear. He stole my rear delt machine. And I just remember looking around. Who else was there? Hidetada, Iris Kyle was training. I just remember looking around and thinking, this is pretty surreal, seeing all you guys. And I remember you were out. I think I saw you were putting. I think Victor, were you putting through some shoulders or something? But yeah, it was a real. So the personal training's going very well then.
Oh yeah, really well. Yeah, some great athletes, and some are young. Some got to be mentored also. Mm-hmm. Helping with the mindset of a champion and what it takes and what they're going to be going through, what they're going to face. Yeah, and all that stuff comes into play with the training. All that experience,
yeah. And of course, the other big news for you was the documentary that Gary Phillips from Australia put together. I've heard nothing but good things. I still haven't seen it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And I spoke to Gary about it at the Arnold Classic because he was saying because I asked him how he managed to do it, and he, the kind of budgets, and he really put his heart and soul into that project. Were you happy with how it turned out?
Yeah, I mean, because I was actually speaking to Tony Doherty when I was doing most of the commentary, and a lot of the times when I was talking, because I've always been kind of private about my own personal life, just because past situations happened before, and I was always like guarded by what I ever said or let out there from my experiences or career stuff or whatever. But I was just talking as I was talking to a friend.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of it came out that I was probably guarded about most of the time in my life, but I just let free of a lot of things. It was pretty therapeutic also.
I was just about to say that because I went to Dorian Yates's Generation Iron premiere, and I spoke to Dorian afterwards, and I said, "Wow, Dorian," I said, you really opened up. I said, there was a lot of stuff that, you must have said. And he said, Giles, it was like you said, he used the word therapeutic. He said, there was stuff that I really had to face and kind of talk about. And he said, it's really helped me process a lot of trauma and stuff from my life when his father died and stuff like that. Was that the same for you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because my mom passed away also of cancer.
Okay.
I had a lot of things happen. My brother committed suicide. All this stuff when I was getting ready for these shows. Yeah. I was going, facing a lot of different adversities. So many things happened that you could have probably avoided, but you took a left turn instead of a right turn.
Yeah.
All this type of stuff. So it was good to do, and I was happy with it. And it's a perfect time to watch it because, most people are still in lockdown. Some people are still just being careful, but they have time to check out I Am the Real Deal. I think you'll get a lot of people get sucked up from it. Not even competitors, but just people in life. You can probably take something from this documentary.
Yeah, a human story. That's what people want. It's because it's something that people can connect with, and things like overcoming adversity and stuff like that. In fact, Gary is actually sending me some footage to work in as we talk about this now. So some of the so our audio will be over the top of that. So you're very happy with how it turned out. Then that's really good to hear.
Yeah, so I was happy with it. But there was so much more to the story that didn't get put in there, or different people that had something to do with positive things in my life, negative things in my life. But overall, it was just good. But like I said, it was still so much more. Yeah. You could have done a part 2 of that damn thing,
What about a sequel or a director's cut?
Yeah, I mean, I would like that myself. I have to talk to Gary about that.
Yeah.
Hear that, Gary?
Yeah. No, I think it's really, because I think the good thing about these documentaries, it helps educate the newer fans of bodybuilding, and also with you coaching and helping other athletes. I think it's good to reestablish, let the industry know who you are as you reestablish yourself, as you've evolved in this new role as coach, as mentor. And I think it's surely it must have helped your business, and because I've followed your career since you turned pro in '93. So the USA's. I mean, I've followed you, man. I've got some stories now. I'll tell you personal stories. I tell you what, we'll get to them right away now. I remember I've got 2 stories Hang on, I've got 3 stories. I think the one was the it was the 1997 British Grand Prix, and I remember I was backstage. I remember there was Lee Priest, Charles Claremont. You see, I was always a fan of yours, but the time I really, really became a big fan of yours was at the 1997 British Grand Prix, because Kevin Levrone won that one. Nasser had just come second at the Olympia, but he took fourth. I forget who was third. Was it Vince Taylor or... But you got second, so that was... And you made some huge improvements that year. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was I remember sitting backstage and watching everybody, walking around and, doing their thing. And it's funny because that show, I was walking around with Kevin, and that's when I was like, I'm following Kevin like a puppy dog. I'm like, I want to do everything he do. Yeah. When he pump up, I'm pumping up. When he turn, I'm turning.
Really? Because Kevin was in like a separate dressing room, and then there was a main area. And do you remember there was some scaffolding backstage, and you were chinning up on it. You were doing chin ups.
Right.
And I was thinking, if that thing doesn't, that because it looked like it was going to topple over, but you were just cracking on with it. It was.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was very self-conscious at that show because we got into town, and me and Kevin decided to go shopping for shoes. So we were walking around the town, and we were finding places that were open. Not many places were open, but some were. And I was checking my condition. I'm going to look in the mirror in the shoe store.
Okay.
And I noticed the welts was on my abs, like I was had allergic reaction to something.
Okay.
So I was like, man. So I freaked out. I'm like, Kevin, look at this. He said, oh, you got to go try to get a doctor. So at the time, Wayne D'Amelia, I contacted him at the hotel, and he arranged for a doctor to come and see me. And you guys didn't have Benadryl or something in the country at that time.
You what, sorry? What was that?
It was Benadryl. I was looking for Benadryl.
Right, yeah, we don't really have that, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So found that out.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. So he just put some kind of stuff on it he was like, basically, you're going to have to let it, just go through your system. And so I was like very self-conscious that I didn't know if people can see it or the judge can see it. So I played it with my head a little bit, but I just fought through it. But I became one big welt by the end of the whole tour.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, that was... Because I always thought you were good, because I saw you in 96 at the British Grand Prix, and then went in 97, and I was like, my God, Chris is really stepping up. I mean, you easily beat Nasser and Charles Claremont and Paul Dillette, and you were second place in like that was when the lineups were like unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean, and you were stepping over the guy that had just come second, and some felt maybe he should have beat Dorian Yates at the Olympia like a couple of weeks before.
Right. And that's the time of my, as you're younger, you start doing more shows, start getting more acclimated to what the pro stage is all about, and being a stage general up there, all that stuff come into play. And then I'm done, and I was competing around 10 shows a year at the time, so that's another thing. Every show you're not going to be ripped as some people would like to see, but when you're doing 4 shows in 4 countries in 4 days, then you're gonna have a certain look going. But at that time, it was that's just the way we were doing it.
Yeah. Did Kevin ever teach you the Ronnie Coleman vodka and coffee trick?
Oh yeah. Kevin,
Did he?
Kevin actually, for sure.
Wow.
Kevin was actually doing that. He would actually give me his food on the plane, and he's standing in the back of the plane with no shoes on, no shirt on, and his pants hanging off his ass. And he's just talking to the stewardess and having a drink back there. That's all he was doing on the airplane. No, that's 100% accurate.
Kevin's busted now. He's busted. Really? Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Kevin was funny.
Yeah. And I remember...
it was very...
Yeah, and another story is, I hope you won't mind me saying this one. This was the 99 when you did your little 8 weeks out from the Olympia. You did a UK tour?
Yeah. I was doing, and I did like 8 shows around UK. That was awesome.
That was 8. I couldn't believe you were touring 8 weeks out from the Olympia, and that was a year you took 3rd at your all-time best.
Oh yeah, tour. Dorian was like, man, he said, I thought you were way off. I said, when I saw you, I said, there's no way he's going to be in shape for that shot.
But you know what? There was. Sorry, go on.
I thought I was on track. So Dorian got different standards though, but I was like, I thought it was going to be good, and then, I went all around. I was getting a good idea, understanding what the UK is all about, the different football clubs and different, I'm just being friendly. Hey, where you from? And this one girl was like, she didn't want to tell me because she's from a rival football club. And I was talking to her, and she was like, she didn't want to tell me where she was from because she thought she might get beat up or something. I was like, wow.
Someone in that audience I remember because I'm sure he had like a clipboard. And he says, hi, my name's, he introduced himself, and he says, and he finished off saying, natural bodybuilder. And you had the mic, and you just went, you had to throw that in there, didn't you? You had to throw that in there. So anyway, the guy says, Chris, he says, from 97 to 98, you made significant in physique improvements. What do you attribute that to? And you just paused, and you went, well, I took my growth hormone from 4IU to 8IU. And the guy's face just dropped, and everyone just burst out, and he sank in his seat. It was like that. It was like, and he's like, well, man, you asked. He's like, what was that? So I was like, nice.
Give him the real.
Yeah, you certainly did that. You certainly did. Okay, and another story is when Kerry Kay's told me this story in an interview. About how you turned up to the what's his name, Ricky Hatton.
Oh, to the fight.
The Ricky Hatton fight. You turned up with no ticket. He turned up with no ticket, and he still managed to get in. Do you want to tell us about that?
So I was I missed my plane, and he didn't think I was even coming. But I was like, oh, I'm coming. I'll be there for sure. And then I got off the thing. I had no cell phones at that time.
Yeah.
And so I got into another country. I got into the UK, and then got into a cab, which would cost me so much money in the cab. I don't know what the hell is going on with the cab system, but
very expensive.
So I got to the front door, and I had these two bags, and I was like, "What am I going to do?" I said, "Okay, I'm here to see Kerry Keys," and the guy's like, "Come with me," like that. So I'm walking through there. I had no ticket at all. I'm in the O2 Arena for the first time. I'm just like going, wow.
True story.
Put your stuff right here. Yeah. I said, okay. He said, come with me. And I start walking. He's like, I'm coming through. And he walked me all the way up to the damn ring. All the way up to the ring. I'm like ringside at the damn O2 Arena. No ticket, no nothing. I'm like, Kerry. He's like, yeah.
That was like, tickets like that, those were hard to get, and you turned up. Hang on a minute, was that the one where you turned up in nothing but in a leather waistcoat with no shirt? Was that the time?
That might have been the funny thing is I met Mike Tyson there.
Okay.
Again, and we have a history from back in the day. From the Rock days.
Altercation, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he just kind of hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
So I was kind of pissed for a long time about that. But everyone kept introducing him to me, and I was like, yeah, I know him.
Wow.
And then, he kind of gave me the left hand that time. I was like, don't you guys use right hand? Okay. Well, yeah. He gave me the left hand.
Yeah.
And we took a photo. I got a photo of that somewhere. I could find that. Yeah, but that happened. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh man. Walked right up to the damn curtain.
So you've had some good experience in the UK. What about time when you train legs with Dorian and they film you throwing up outside in the alleyway?
Oh man. The weird thing about that is I didn't go there for a video. It was just I knew that someone was videotaping, but I didn't know where he was because he was kind of like sitting up on the squat rack and just kind of being like a fly on the wall. And that whole thing was just like a fly on the wall. It was like remarkable the way he shot that. He was pretty genius in that because a lot of times you just don't even remember that there was a video being done. But a lot of videos now is all doctored up, and they meant to come in and they meant to come in and do this. They wanted to say this. That was just this raw.
Dorian wasn't into that kind of filming, was he? He just like, look, stay out of the way, get out of my way, just let me get on with it.
Yeah, and it was tough, man. But the thing is, though, he just like, he worked me from the time I got out of the bed into the gym. Everything was like, I'm jet lagged. I probably just tried to close my eyes an hour or two ago when I got there, and he's waking up. Wake up, motherfucker! Like he's doing that every morning to me, man. I was like, every morning he's doing that. And I get out down there. Gal had breakfast for us. We get into the Maserati. We go into the gym. Yeah. I tried some of his what's that drink stuff that he does. But so I'm just like,
Oh, the pre-workout. I forget the name of it now.
I'm not really a pre-workout guy, so I'm in there like going like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and he was careful. He was like, he's like, warm up on the bike, and then I'll be with you in about 20 minutes. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm saying to myself, I want to reserve my strength. He's like, warm up, Chris. I'm not gonna train you unless you warm up.
Wow, okay.
So I was like, okay. So I started going. That's when I was having my headphones all the time, and he literally took my headphones because I kept trying to listen to music, and he's like, you need to listen to me, not the music.
Wow.
So he took it off my neck, walked it behind the counter of the gym, set my stuff there, came back, and I'm just like in shock, like, I am not comfortable like this. So but I became understanding of why and all that stuff, because he's trying to guide you through the workout and through the session. It's things that he needs to tell you during the set, so you got to be able to listen to that. So that's when I see guys with headphones and they train it with someone. Yeah. They literally can't help them the way that you really should.
Yeah, you can't engage with them. You can't, like you said, you can't guide them, could you?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, another story.
So, but it was shocking because I thought I really couldn't even work out without the headphones. So, it was like a fish out of the water.
I did that once when I forgot my iPod and actually went home. I didn't train. That's how. Yeah, I was like, no, not try. Can't train without my iPod. Cannot train without my iPod. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? The funny little habits we have. Okay, 2005. I was chatting to Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
Triple H. And I got into a conversation. He was at my gym. He was on part of the SmackDown tour. And I was 3 weeks out from a contest. So I was kind of in the zone. There was him and Batista training right next to me. And I didn't even notice them for the first 20 minutes. That's how... It was leg day. And I was 3 weeks out. It was one of my last leg sessions. I was in really good condition. And I could see Triple H glancing. So when he finished training, I went over and started speaking to him. Really nice guy. And he called over Ric Flair and some others. And they were like checking out my abs and stuff. So I got into a conversation with him. And I was saying, he says... I said, oh, you're going to be comparing the Olympia again this year? And he says, oh, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure yet, brother, because he compared it in 2004 with Bob Chick. And we started talking about bodybuilders that trained hard. And he says, man, most of these bodybuilders, they train like pussies, man. He said, but there was one, there was one guy, man. He said, there's one guy who's really strong and really intense. He said, Chris Cormier.
That's awesome.
Triple H. Triple H.
So, yeah, because he would come to Venice a lot.
Lovely guy
back then, and he would see us training, and back then I was doing 5 and 525 on an incline, and doing the 180s on an everyday basis on the 180s, and then 200s occasionally after I did the 5 something on the incline, and even if when I was clean, I was still doing 4 plates for 10 reps.
What?
Even when I was clean. Yeah. And then once everything started and got, revved up, and then I was busting out, 15, 16 reps with the 4 or 5. And
really?
Yeah.
I'll never forget those Chris Lund, the Flex magazine, the black and white pictures. I can visualize it perfectly now on the page of the Flex magazine. You, Rico McClinton, and Flex Wheeler doing 4.5 plate incline, and those photos were iconic. They were so inspirational.
Oh, yeah. So I just became part of the group shortly before that. Before they were tight. Rico was the first person I met in Venice, but he was tight with Flex already. And me and Flex was still, these two alpha males trying to mesh into this little group.
Yeah.
And so, we butted heads a lot, but it was good. It was like brothers that was all around the same age that was pushing for the same thing and had the same goals in mind. But we made each other, where we were,
Yeah.
Rico was instrumental in making Flex better than Flex would have been. I made Flex better than he would have. They made me better than what I would have.
Yeah, you're literally, because you're competing in the gym and you're trying to bring out the best in each other. I mean, I had Flex Wheeler on, what was it, 3 weeks ago? About 3 weeks ago. Amazing interview. And have you reached out to him? Have you spoke to him? Obviously, because he's been going through a bit of a tough time, losing his obviously his right leg. Have you spoke to him recently? What's going on there?
Oh yes, yeah. We still brothers, man. After all these years, and we all, we wish we would have did more stuff together. While we didn't know it might have been a special group of guys that people would remember over time. That we was just in it and doing our thing and cardio together, eating together. Trading off who's gonna pay for whose food or whatever like that, and on a daily basis. And then we go back to the gym and do it again. And we're paranoid as hell to miss a workout. That's one thing that stood out from that time with those guys. Even if we worked all night in nightclub and played video games after we worked, we still hit the gym before we went home. We were like, we got to go to the gym and train because we're gonna oversleep if we go to just go straight home. So there you have it.
Were they the best days for you, those days training in Venice and, with hanging out with Flex Wheeler and doing cardio together? Would you say that was the most memorable part of your career, or was it the competing?
I think it was that. It was all in one. But I was getting ready, I started with Robbie Robinson when I was like 19, 20 years old.
Wow.
I actually guest posed with him in Spain. Yeah. Shit. And so we did our first workout together in Spain, and it was, we were staying in the same house. We actually went out to a nightclub in Spain and didn't get back in until like 10 a.m. in the morning. And that was my first European experience.
Yeah.
On the Canary Island out there, right? So all the girls are out there topless, and me and Robbie was the only one that was paying attention to all the fucking topless girls. It was like, but that was pretty awesome. But those times, and spending that time with Robbie, talking about the old days and talking about training, posing, wherever. And then blending that in with Gary Stridham, who was in my life at that time.
Gary Stridham.
Those guys did, So they massaging me the whole time. This is how you get pro. This is how you can go to Europe and make money. And I did those same strategies that they were talking to me about, when I was an amateur. When I got over to Europe, I was set up different training things at different gyms. Like this person paid $500. I go in and do a workout. Take my shirt off, do some poses, take some photos, off to another gym, do another workout. So I was making $1,000 a day, and going from place to place around these. There's a bunch of little gyms, around Europe like that, and we were. I was happy to be able to do the certain things that I was getting ready for my whole time competing, training as an amateur.
Yeah. Who was your favorite training partner?
Man. There's a lot of different things for different reasons. My most memorable was obviously with Dawes. Dorian was like that opened my eyes to a whole other world, and I really appreciate that the most, because that's kind of what I channel my training philosophy after more. So when Robbie tried to instill that in me with the connection and the control and this and that, but I was too young and dumb and egotistical to put that to work, because when you're young, you just want to go strong. No, I don't want to do the 40-pound dumbbells. I want to do the 110-pound dumbbells. That's gonna make me, bigger. And that was my mindset. And so that's one thing that that's one thing that I cherish a lot is just the time, and then the time in the posing room with Robbie.
Yeah.
And then we did the same thing with me and Rico and Flex. We were like falling asleep in the posing room. We were in there so long and pushing each other so hard, and the windows all fogged up. It's nothing unless the windows are all fogged up. That's when you're doing something.
When you're working hard enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, we've got time for only a couple more questions, but is there any way we could get you back for a part 2 in a few more weeks? Because I feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface, because I want to go right through your career. Because our producer's on Ramadan, you see, and he's been starving all day, poor bloke. So let's do another one. Yeah, let's do another one. But let's talk about what you think will happen with the Olympia this year. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, the champion's going to go in as the favorite. Obviously, Brandon Curry, and then you always got to think of number 2. The same number 2 from last year.
William Bonac.
Yeah, Bonac's. He's a hungry guy. He's someone from. He's got a hood type attitude when he trains, when everything he does, he's just hungry for it. He don't care if it's 12 o'clock at night. He don't care if it's 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't think he gives a shit about any of that. I think he just coming there to do, and the that thin skin he brings to the table, and now he's getting more mass on top of that, and I think he has the right look for his physique and his size, and what he brings. I think he really got to hone in on that. So the way he looked this year, proves that. Depends on who's in the show. We always think if Big Rami's going to do something, that's always like a big Tyson's champ. They also have will we see the former champion? Will we see Roden?
Oh, Roden. Yeah.
We don't know if we see Roden. We don't know if we see Phil. Phil just need to adjust what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was almost there, and it's just going to take him really honing in on different areas of his physique. It'll be awesome. And Dexter's in there because Dexter's trying to finish off his career. And I think he was damn near close to doing something in Arnold.
He was? Yeah. Oh, but I just...
So it could be crazy. It could be a super, super crazy lineup.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to how it's going to play out.
What about Flex Lewis?
Flex Lewis is another one that I think he was and there's a lot of people that's in a division where they got to be a certain weight class. Yeah, it's hard to show your best attributes of your physique if you got to come down lower than what you need to. Because that's the whole thing with bodybuilding for myself is finding that weight and that look that looks the best for you to get the most out of your physique. And I think he's been hampered by that, by being in that 212 class. So I'm looking forward, and he's so grainy and hard. That's the thing. He could be like a Bonac and really knock some people out the park. Yeah. He's a hard worker. He understands what the game is, and being a total veteran that he is, I don't think he's afraid of stepping up. Yeah. So that's going to be a dark horse in itself, just to see how he's going to do.
Chris, I've actually just remembered, because you and me have been DMing each other for the last couple of weeks. And I've just remembered I do actually have your... Listen, I do have your phone number, because at the 2010 Body Power, I was talking to some friends. I think Zach Khan was there. And I said, right, guys, I said the words, we're going out partying later. And you came over and you gave me your number. And you went, call me. Well, I'll come out with you and Zach later. So yeah. Right.
I'm working with Zach right now.
I know. Fantastic. Now, I was really excited. I'll tell you what, we'll get you on for part 2, and we'll talk about your new CC TV, the new channel. We'll talk about all your career with the Arnold, and we'll definitely get you on again, Chris. But this has been amazing, and I'm really excited for part 2, mate. I can't wait.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been wanting to be on the show since you guys started, so it's
thank you.
I'm glad I got a chance to get on and get a chance to interview with you. That's awesome, man.
Thank you, Chris. Well, I've got your number now, so you'll probably get a text from me on WhatsApp now. So.
All right, let me know where the club is at. What club you going to?
All right then, Chris. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye.